ready. Today is Tuesday, March 3rd, 2026, 6 p.m. This is the day and time scheduled for the regularly scheduled meeting of the Westland Planning Commission for the month of March. At this time, I'd like to ask everybody to rise and join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Amen. Administration, roll call, please.
Sure thing. Durante.
Present.
Folks.
Present.
Hobbs.
Present.
Hopkins is absent, excused. Richards.
Here.
Rounds.
Present.
Stachow is absent, excused. Reed.
Present.
Rappaport.
Present.
We have a quorum.
Thank you very much. Next item on the agenda is the approval of minutes for February 3rd, 2026.
So moved.
Recognizing David Reed for the motion and supported by Folks. Roll call, please.
Roll call vote to approve the February 3rd, 2026 meeting minutes. Durante.
Yes.
Folks.
Yes.
Hobbs.
Yes.
Richards.
Yes.
Rounds.
Yes.
Reed.
Yes.
Rappaport.
Yes.
Minutes are approved.
Thank you very much. Next item on our agenda is citizens' comments. We have copies of we should have copies of the agenda up here at the podium, if anybody has not yet gotten a copy. This portion of our agenda is for citizens to be heard on items that are not otherwise already on our agenda for discussion. And I will be going back and forth to the right and the left to see if there's anybody that wishes to speak on an item that we currently do not have on our agenda. Is there anybody on my right that wishes to speak on an item that is not currently on our agenda? Seeing none. Anybody on my left wish to speak on an item not currently on our agenda? Seeing none. We're going to move on then to our business items for the day. I'm sorry? Oh, sir. Nope. Just wants paperwork.
Okay.
Very good then. We will in fact move on to our action items for today, which begins with case number 1441Q. That's a proposed site plan and special land use approval for a drive-through Brewtopia. Administration, can you tell us a little bit about this proposal?
Yes, thank you. The subject property consists of just under 30,000 square feet here. It's outlined in yellow. You approved recommended approval of a land division last month. The parent parcel is developed with a Meijer retail store and the associated Meijer fueling station to the west left-hand side there on the screen. The subject site is currently vacant. It's zoned CB3, general commercial business. The petitioner today is proposing to construct a 7-brew drive-through only coffee shop on the property, requiring site plan and drive-through restaurants or special land uses as well. Property to the north, south, east, and west are all zoned CB3, General Commercial Business District, and the subject property's future land use designation is Shop and Dine District. Site plan is up on the screen. The site will be accessed using a variety of existing drive-throughs located on the Meijer parent parcel previously referenced, all of which will be maintained, so no modifications to any of the existing Meijer curb cuts on Warren and Newburgh there. The proposed development complies with all of the applicable parking required in the zoning ordinance for this project, and also the required stacking spaces as well. Stacking for the first window is required to be 8, and 6 for each additional window. The proposal calls for 15 with 2 windows. There's a landscape plan in your backup. Landscape screening is provided throughout the site, including along Warren Road and within internal circulation and parking areas in accordance, in excess of the zoning ordinance requirements. Business hours at the time of drafting this report after asking the applicant are known to be Monday through Sunday from 5:30 a.m. to 10 p.m., 7 days a week. The proposed building materials are primarily masonry decorative panels. The proposed building, as laid out on the site, complies with all of the zoning requirements of the CB3 zoning district. Photometric plan is also provided in your backup indicating site lighting on the site as proposed in compliance with the zoning ordinance. There is a light pole that exists on the site today as part of the Meyer development that shows a foot candle measurement that is not in compliance. However, it's only impacting the parking lot at Meyer. It's existing, so there's no concern there. The site plan was accompanied by a traffic impact study required for drive-through restaurants and other drive-through operations similar to this coffee shop. The study found no impacts on traffic operations, noting that the majority of trips generated by this development are anticipated to be comprised of internal trips captured by this drive-through restaurant or trips passing by already passing Warren or Newburgh areas, or roads rather. This is a rendering of what the development will look like on all elevation angles. The administration and planning department recommend that this petition be forwarded to the city council with a recommendation for approval with the 2 conditions, all listed here on the record. The petitioner is in agreement and shall install a do not enter sign in this area where there's a dedicated emergency slip lane. And on the other side of that, we also want a do not enter as well, so people do not enter in this area. Again, the petitioner has agreed to this. The second condition is the city wants the applicant to install landscaping within this island that is being proposed here that will assist in traffic circulation. The plans as delivered did not have landscaping. We're requesting landscaping. The applicant is agreeing to install landscaping, so no issues there. That's it for me. Happy to answer any questions. The developer is in the back of the room as well.
Thank you very much, administration. Is the petitioner in the audience? Oh, we have a petitioner. Hi, petitioner. Can you please introduce yourself?
Absolutely.
On the record?
Yep, my name is Reed Cooksey with Stonefield Engineering Design. Address 555 South Old Woodward, Suite 12L, Birmingham, Michigan. Here tonight representing Brutopia for this 7-room project. I don't really have much to add on the overall site layout. Planning Director Mo did a great job kind of explaining what we're trying to accomplish here. What I will kind of explain is a little bit more operationally. I know that's a big question that we get at these meetings because 7 Brew is such a new concept. So in talking about 7 Brew itself, it's not your typical coffee user. There's no menu board, there's nothing like that. So it's not like Starbucks or Dunkin' or Tim Hortons where you get on site, you go up to a menu board, you hem and haw, you order some donuts and coffee and all these things. What they do is drinks. The menu is drinks only. There's no food served here. It's only drinks, and there's no order board. You order via the phone, or the employees will walk out and take orders via iPad. Think modern day Chick-fil-A. You know, they come out and they take your order well ahead of time of you getting there so they can process it. And then what you have with the lane layout and what we have here is we have the bypass lane, as it was discussed. That was something that we went back and forth on, you know, for emergency circulation as well as you know, ease of operations on site for the 2 lanes. But what the 2 lanes allow us to do, and what not having to wait in a line to get to the menu, get to a window to pick up, really allows us to do, is those are 2 double doors there, so the employees walk the order out to you. So once your order's ready, you can get it and leave the site. You know, and one thing this has allowed us to do is have industry-leading throughput times for a coffee user. Most of the time, you're in and out of the site in under 3 minutes. What we provided you was a queuing study where we went on one of the busiest days in one of the busiest markets and did a physical study of cars coming on and off the site. And what it'll show you is in that window, that 7:30 a.m. window, which everybody knows is when everybody's trying to go get their coffee. We had 22 cars enter the site in that 30-minute window. The maximum queue is only 14 stacking spaces, which we have more than that here. And the average time to get on site and off the site was 5 minutes. So that is unheard of in the industry, and something that we really pride ourselves on is efficiency. So operationally, we're very efficient. There's no indoor seating, there's no outdoor seating. You stay in your car, you order it via the phone app. There's QR codes that you can scan on the site, or you can go to the the website and order. What that does is kind of picks up that comeback customer. People are going every day. They know operations. They know what they're going to order. They can order ahead of time, and it just continues to increase the throughput that we have. And that's reflected in our traffic study as well. Most of the trips that we're capturing are people that are commuting, people that are coming to Meyer, people that are already in this area. People aren't going to drive 10 minutes out of the way to go get a coffee these days. They want something that's convenient on the way, and we are the model of convenience for this space. So with that, be happy to answer any questions that you guys may have. We're excited about being here in Westland, and look forward to being a proud member of the community.
Thank you very much. So before I open it up to the board, this is a drive-through, and as such, it's subject to a special land use.
That's correct.
When we do that, we like to hear from the citizens, because it's their right to speak on special land use matters. So I am going to ask you to find a nearby seat. We're probably going to be calling you up fairly soon, so don't go too far.
No problem.
At this time, is there anybody in the audience on my right that wishes to speak on the coffee shop proposal in the Myers parking lot? Anybody on my right? Anybody on my left? Everybody loves coffee, obviously, but definitely not tasty cakes and pastries. So if I can please have the petitioner return to the podium, I'll open it up to the commission. Is there any commissioner on my right? Recognizing Sam Durante.
What are you going to do with the trash?
Yep, great question. So we have a trash enclosure on site that meets all setback and masonry requirements of the city. That everything will be placed in that dumpster, and then we have trash pickup 1 to 2 times per week, off hours to come pick up the trash. We'll most likely utilize what the other outlets are using for service, and be able to pick it up. With it being everything's in your car, there's not people eating on site. We don't generate a significant amount of trash on site just because people are taking it with them and leaving.
Okay. Through the chair to the... Can you show us on the map where that dumpster area is?
It's right where this red cursor pointer is.
Right there?
that I'm
Okay,
circling.
thank you.
Thank you very much. Anybody on my left wishes, recognizing Deborah Folks?
Yes, you're going to have all variants of coffee, different flavors, cold,
Oh,
hot
yeah.
coffee.
We have a whole variety of drink offerings, from lemonades to energy teas, and as well as different types of coffee.
All coffee, that's
Yep,
it.
all coffee, yep, but just drinks only. We don't do food.
Thank
Teas
you.
are actually becoming very popular from our sites. We found out, so.
Anybody additionally on my right, recognizing Ruby Richards?
Excuse me. How many employees will be working at, like, one time? I know
Yep,
you said.
max employee count is around 3. So you'll
just-
have a manager, and then generally 1 or 2 people taking orders and,
Making the coffee and
making
stuff.
coffee, yeah.
Because the only reason I'm asking, I guess this question is for Mo. I know it's a drive-in and not a restaurant, and I only seen 1 bathroom, so is that okay?
The building official reviewed this for compliance with building codes, and he expressed approval of this plan, so I suspect bathrooms is one of the things at the top of his list, so it checked out with him, and that's why it's in front of you today.
it's only for employees, so there's not a public bathroom inside.
Thank you.
Anybody additionally on my left? Seeing none. Anybody additionally on my right? Seeing none. Motion is in order.
Thank you.
Recognizing Darrell Rounds for that motion.
I'd like to close a public hearing and waive the normal rules and move that case number 1441Q, proposed site plan and special land use approval for a drive-through coffee shop located at 372011 Warren Road, southeast corner of Warren and Newburgh, Brutopia, Michigan LLC, William Washington. Be forwarded to City Council with a recommendation for approval contingent upon the following conditions below, that the petitioner shall install a do not enter sign and a stop sign at the bailout lane, subject to review and approval by the city planner. Also, that the petitioner shall provide landscaping within the landscape island located to the southeast of the site, that trees shall be installed within that island, subject to review and approval by the city planner to ensure compliance with applicable landscaping standards, as well as any other departmental requirements or recommendations.
Support.
Before I accept that support, I wanted to note that there are 2 proposed variances, and those are located on page 3 of the proposal. If you could take a quick look at those.
That's an error, the language variance is an error on my part. There are no variances required.
Okay.
That was-
I see
that
the
was-
word variances, and it makes the lawyer hairs on my neck stand tall.
That was fixed in the backup. Thank you.
Then I have no amendment, friendly or otherwise, and I recognize Ruby Richards for that second, and roll call vote, please.
Roll call vote to approve case number 1441Q with conditions listed on the record. Durante,
Yes.
Folks,
Yes.
Hobbs,
Yes.
Richards,
Yes.
Rounds,
Yes.
Reed,
Yes.
and Rappaport.
Yes.
Motion is
So congratulations. Your next step is at the city council, correct? Please see the administration at your soonest convenience to figure out what the plan is.
Absolutely, really thank the board here.
Good luck
and,
to you, and thank you for bringing your
excited to
business
be
to
in
Westland.
Westland. Thank you.
And the mire that I frequent. Now calling case number 1220B, proposed site plan and special land use approval for assisted living retail office development at 8543 Inkster Road, Nasser Chasser. Administration, can you please tell us a little bit about this?
Yes, thank you. Subject site here consists of approximately 1.72 acres. It's 2 properties that have now been combined. They're outlined on, in yellow on your screen. The subject parcels or property are zone CB3, General Commercial Business. The petitioner is requesting approval to construct 2 separate 2-story buildings on the site. The proposed front building will accommodate retail and office uses, or retail plaza, while the rear building is intended for use as an assisted living facility. The assisted living component requires both site plan approval and special land use approval, while the proposed retail and office building, retail plaza, requires site plan approval. Just a little background on this. Some of you may remember, on September 1st of 2025, the city council, after it being reviewed by you, denied the petitioner's request for site plan and special land use approval to construct a 3-story storage facility at the rear of the property and a very similar, as proposed today, 2-story retail plaza at the front. The proposed 3-story building required a height variance, and concerns were raised by the residents, the Planning Commission, and the City Council regarding the building's height and its potential impact on the single-family homes directly adjacent to the west. Due to these concerns, the City Council ultimately denied the petition, but directed the petitioner property owner to consider a revised project and design that would be more appropriate and compatible with the adjacent residential district. The future land use designation for this site is neighborhood commercial office services. Getting into the site plan a bit, the site will utilize a one-way circulation pattern and is marked with signage and paint on the asphalt and concrete, similar to the previous proposal last year. The ingress driveway will be located at the northeast side of the site, and the egress driveway located at the southeast of the site. The site contains 65 off-street parking spaces as proposed and compliant with the zoning requirements for these sizes of buildings. There is sufficient parking and access on site for the buildings and proposed uses. The site proposes landscaping and buffering areas throughout the site. I don't have the landscaping plan up here, but there is one in your packet. There's a 20-foot wide landscaping buffer containing trees and a 6-foot tall masonry wall proposed between that residential property line to the west and the development. The landscaping proposes screening and landscaping as well along the frontage on the Inkster Street side and also throughout the site in the parking areas. Again, all in conformance with the zoning ordinance. Site lighting, a photometric plan is provided in your backup in compliance with the requirements, but site lighting and drainage are provided in accordance with the regulations. The proposed retail plaza will be constructed primarily with brick, limestone, and some metal paneling material. The assisted living space is on the top half of your screen and the retail/office plaza on the bottom half. The site plan complies with all of the bulk requirements of the zoning ordinance in this CB3 zoning district, so the setbacks, the lot coverage, the height. The proposed use is consistent with the zoning and future land use designation within the general area along Inkster Road. We are, this area along Inkster Road is future land use designated for commercial purposes, so we are trying to transition this area to commercial. With that said, the Administration and Planning Department recommends approval of this petition with the condition that outdoor seating is provided in the rear of the assisted living for residents to enjoy as needed. I had the conversation about this with the petitioner, and he is agreeable to this. That's all I have. Happy to answer any questions. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you very much. Is the petitioner in the audience? Can the petitioner please rise to the podium and be recognized?
Good evening. My name is Nasser Shukair, 3241 South Telegraph, Dearborn.
Welcome back, Mr. Shusher. I'm sorry, I'm going to mess your name up, of course. Did you have anything that you wanted to add to the presentation?
I just want to say that this time we're coming in with the nice proposal for the senior citizen housing and the retail plaza on the front with a retail and office. And we followed, I mean, we've been working on this for a while and trying to follow every step to get this approved and be presented right.
Yeah. Fantastic. So this is a special land use. So just like I did with the last gentleman, I'm going to ask you to find a nearby seat. I'm going to see if the citizens want to say anything about it, and then we'll bring you right on back up and we'll talk to you. Regarding the proposed site plan and special land approval for a assisted living retail office development, we're going to open it up to the audience for any comments or concerns. Is there anybody on my right that wishes to speak on this matter? Recognizing the nice lady in, what color is that? It's kind of greenish shirt. Please be recognized.
Good evening. My name is Monique Dotson. I live at 8560 Cavell Street, which is directly behind this property. Couple of questions that I have regarding the prints and everything is the lighting. The position of the lighting that wouldn't be directly in the backyard. Is there, is it subsequent that it's not too bright? Because Dave's Lawnmower Shop right now there is a light that goes directly into my bedroom in the back.
I can't speak to what is existing there right now, but in the back, I do have a photometric plan, and don't believe there are any lights in the back. One second. No lights in the back.
Okay. Fence line, is it a 6-foot masonry wall? How far from our existing chain link fence would that be?
Well, I assume, and it is allowed to be on his property.
Okay. And we just keep our existing fence?
If, I'm sure he's willing to work something out with you where
Okay.
you can remove it.
Okay.
But we're going to be 1 foot away from it.
Okay, all right. The dumpster placement, how many dumpsters are on that site and where would they be?
There's two dumpsters on site. One dumpster is located at approximately the midpoint of the site. Well, let me put this away because it's a little awkward. Okay. This is, what is that? Inkster Road right here, and this is Joy up here. So this is one dumpster enclosure to service the retail plaza, and there's another dumpster enclosure here at the southwest of the site to service the assisted living facility.
Okay, so that's from Inkster Road, that'd be in this corner.
I'm sorry?
It would be in this corner. If
It
you're
would,
coming off Inkster, it'd be in that corner?
it would be in the back corner of the site.
Okay, all right,
I'm happy to email this to you as well.
okay. Okay, thank you. So from the, from the masonry wall, what would be the back of the assisted living, space-wise?
So from the wall to the wall of the building, I believe it's about 50-plus feet.
Okay. All right. I think, and so the drive, so they can't cut through the middle. If they just went to the retail, they have to come all the way around to exit back out? Or they can come through?
I understand your question. So the retail plaza is primarily where most of the traffic will be.
Right.
They can cut where this hashed line is.
Okay.
They can cut here.
Okay.
And they can also cut here.
Okay. And the retail building, do they have certain hours of operation?
No one here can answer that question because there aren't even tenants lined up yet.
Okay.
Is that correct? Are there any tenants lined up for the retail plaza?
And there is just the office, architectural firm,
Okay.
and engineering, that would be taken on. And downstairs, probably, and the retail, probably will have a laundromat. In one of the area, about 2,000 square feet.
Do you know what the hours of operation are?
The laundromat would be till 11 o'clock or 12 o'clock.
And that's in the front
Correct.
of the retail? Okay,
And the office is always from 9 to 5.
okay. All right, I think that's all the questions I have. And it's a two-story, not a one and a half, it's a two-story building.
Yeah, it's a two-story. It has this
Yeah.
tall little parapet here in
Yeah.
front, but
Okay,
it's in compliance with
Yeah.
the,
okay, all right, thank you very much.
Thank you. Are there any comments on my left? Seeing none, returning to the right, are there any comments about this proposal on my right? Seeing none, Mr. Nasser, if I can have you return to the podium, and we'll open it up to the commission. Commissioners, is there anybody on my right that wishes to examine this petitioner? Seeing none, anybody on my left wishing to examine this petitioner? Seeing none, a motion is in order. Recognizing Ruby Richards.
I move to close out and waive normal rules for case number 1120B, proposed site plan and special land use approval for assistant living/retail/office development at 8543 Inkster Road, west side of Inkster Road, in between Joy Road and Ann Arbor Trail, and sent to City Council with a recommendation for approval contingent upon departmental requirements and recommendations and the condition listed below, that an outdoor seating area be provided in the rear of the assisted living for residents to enjoy if needed.
Support. Recognizing the motion by Ruby Richards, support by Sam Durante. Roll call, please.
this is roll call vote to recommend approval of case number 1220B with conditions. Durante,
Yes.
Folks,
Yes.
Hobbs,
Yes.
Richards,
Yes.
Rounds,
Yes.
Reed,
Yes.
and Rappaport.
Yes.
Motion's approved.
All right, sir, your petition has been approved at this point. Your next step is at the city council. Please get with the administration and find out how and when your next steps are going to happen, okay?
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Nasser. Good luck to you, sir. Now calling case number 1933C, proposed site plan and special land use approval for a truck and trailer parking lot at 37925 Florence, west of Newburgh Road. Petitioner is Anthony Callow. Administration, can you please catch us up to speed on this petition, please?
Yes, thank you. The subject property here is located within the industrial subdivision off of Florence Street and is surrounded predominantly by industrial uses. The property owner is seeking approval to permit the outdoor storage of semi-trucks and trailers on the vacant parcel outlined in yellow, which is classified as a special land use in the I-1 Industrial Zoning District, which this property is partly zoned. The planned truck and trailer storage area will support the operations of the adjacent business to the west, owned by Kalo and Sons, a construction company that provides trucking, hauling, and material transport services throughout southeast Michigan. There will be no new construction of buildings. The semi-truck and trailer parking area will be constructed with asphalt material in accordance to engineering design standards. The parcel, as previously mentioned, is split zoned with the northern 105 approximately feet designated R2 single-family residential, where a stormwater bioretention area is proposed. That area that I refer to is approximately in this imaginary rectangle that I'm drawing here. The request was originally on the May 6th, 2025 Planning Commission agenda, but withdrawn by the petitioner after concerns were raised by adjacent residents. The applicant delayed the project in order to allow the applicant to meet with an adjacent resident and additional time to address residential concerns related to buffering, lighting, access, and overall compatibility with the adjacent residential properties. I'll read on the record some of the modifications since the postponement approximately a year ago. The revised plan eliminated any extension or modification of Florence Street or the easement itself, which is in this area over here, and you can see Florence Street over here. And instead, access will be provided via an access agreement over this adjacent parcel, again, which is owned by the existing landowner. So trucks and trailers will come in on this property and enter onto the property approximately over here. The applicant enhanced the proposed buffering by expanding the northern greenbelt where that split zoning is in place to 105 feet in width and relocating the stormwater basin from the south of the site to the north. Further revisions include widening the greenbelt along the east property line to 31 feet. So this area here will be maintained as is today, approximately 31 feet of it. Adding additional trees, increasing the height of the screening wall from 6 feet to 8 feet along this area. Adjusting light pole locations to eliminate light trespass onto neighboring properties. And limiting the hours of operation for the northeasterly truck parking areas between the hours of 7 a.m. and 7 p.m. Adjacent land use and zoning, property to the north, over here, actually, where I was discussing, and over here, are both zoned R2 single-family residential and undeveloped. Property to the south is zoned I1 light industrial and undeveloped. You may remember the City Council approved a marijuana co-located facility on that property. Properties to the east are zoned I1 light industrial and currently undeveloped, and R2 single-family residential and developed with a single-family home. Property to the west, already discussed, is zoned I1 light industrial as well, and again, developed by Kalo and Sons Trucking. The 2018 future land use designation for this site indicates industrial. The applicant provided a wetland report prepared by Natural Resources Management, NRM. It indicated some wetland areas on the site, none of which are regulated. Our engineering consultant, OHM, reviewed this, believes this to be true. If further investigation has not been had with Eagle, that'll be done through the construction process if the project is approved. The proposed use represents a relatively low-intensity industrial use compared to other uses permitted by right in the I-1 Industrial District per the city zoning ordinance, such as manufacturing or warehousing operations that generally do include truck and trailer traffic. The use primarily functions as accessory parking, supporting the adjacent industrial business. No buildings are proposed on the site, and the site will be fully paved in accordance to engineering standards, eliminating concerns related to dust control. The proposed use is reasonable, consistent with adopted plans, and represents an appropriate use of the property as zoned. And therefore, the Administration and Planning Department is recommending approval, subject to the typical department requirements. Happy to answer any questions. Mr. Kalo and his team are here in the audience. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Is the petitioner in the audience? Please rise to the podium and be recognized.
I'm Anthony Kalo. Good evening, everybody.
Good evening, Mr. Kalo. Do you have anything to add to the presentation from the administration?
I do not.
Okay. That being said,
Mitch
maybe we
does.
do
I'm
have
sorry.
something.
Mitch
Did we
does.
have
He'll be talking Mitch and Michael.
Mitch and Michael?
Yes.
Bring it on.
How's it going? My name is Mitch with the Umler Group. I'm the engineer on the project. We also have Abud, the contractor, and Michael, the attorney. I think Mo did a wonderful job on the presentation, going over the history and the site data. He touched on most of the things I was planning to add. I can just go over a little bit more of the backstory. As he said, we originally submitted last April. We were scheduled for the June meeting. We heard concern from nearby residents, and we decided to pull back from that meeting. We wanted to meet with the residents, understand their concerns. We did so, and we revised the plans accordingly. Mo went over most of the alterations. Some additional ones I would like to mention. Do you have the site plan? Lee? Pull
I
it?
do.
So the screening wall, when we first submitted, was 6 feet high and ran all the way along the east property line. After meeting with the residents, they let us know that their preference, if possible, would be to have views of the detention basin, as that is green space that will be landscaped. So we shifted that wall on the R2 portion of the site next to the detention basin to the west side, so that it still is able to screen traffic from Florence Ave, but retains those green views for them as much as possible. Mo mentioned hours restrictions for those spots closest to the residences there in the northeast corner. Tony has also said that he'll reserve those spots for primarily long-term storage, so trailers that are being picked up and dropped off every few weeks as opposed to every day. So that'll shift most of the daily traffic further south away from the houses. When Tony bought the property, he cleared some brush there, and he, according to him, has removed hundreds of yards of trash and debris. So even before this project is approved, he's out there committed to improving the appearance and the safety of the site. And we understand that there's concerns from residents about the existing operation in respect to visual and noise disturbances. We feel that the screening that we have proposed for this proposed operation will not only effectively screen that operation, but will improve the existing conditions with respect to the existing lot as well. So with that, as Mo said, we feel that this is consistent with the ordinances and the future uses. We're here to answer any questions, and we thank you for your consideration.
Thank you very much, Mitch. Does Mike want the floor?
I can do this after if you want, because most of what I was going to say would be a response to what the residents say, but if you want me to say it right now, I'm more than happy to do it. It's totally your prerogative.
Well, I mean, council, you have the podium. If you want
Okay.
to say some now and some later, I'm good with both.
Okay. A couple things I want to focus on that you may not be aware of. First of all, Tony's had the site next there for about 20-some-odd years with no tickets, no violations, nothing. He does his job, and he does it very well. Some of the complaints were related to a facility in Detroit, which is a concrete crushing facility. Concrete crushing is obviously far different than a parking lot. Concrete crushing involves 3 separate piles. First of all, it involves a crusher, which is a huge machine that gets concrete and then crushes it, leaving 3 different piles, each 45 feet high. And that has led to a number in the city of Detroit violations. And one of the things I have to pass out to each one of the members is a copy of an opinion after the city of Detroit tried to shut down that facility, claiming that with 300 tickets and everything else, we must be doing something wrong. And after a 5-day trial and an 11-page opinion, which I can pass out, which I'll pass out in a second, The court found very clearly that we did absolutely nothing wrong. He says, based on the testimony and evidence presented, this court finds no reasonable basis to revoke the land use. He also made a comment about dust, and he said, based on the testimony and evidence proffered, this court finds that Green Valley takes reasonable steps to keep the dust down and around the site. And that's different. 45 feet high piles are going to produce some limited amounts of dust. And we introduced saying there was no dust leaving the site. Here we have an 8-foot wall and a truck driving around. No dust is going to get over the 8-foot wall. And at the end, the court clearly says, the court finds that Green Valley's operations do not pose a risk to public health, safety, and welfare, and that we're in compliance with the conditions of the land use agreement. Every one of the tickets that they're complaining about that they say exist have all been dismissed. The case has all been dismissed. So claiming that a different facility on a different project has a problem, when you look at the opinion, just isn't actual. Another business that Tony owns is Kalo and Sons in Salem Township. And I have a letter written by the mayor of Salem Township that I will hand to each one of you. What this says is Tony arrived, or Kalo and Sons arrived over a decade ago. He is determined to ensure the integrity of his operation as well as the integrity of our town. He takes great pride in not only maintaining his equipment, but also in the appearance of his facility. His property is meticulously maintained throughout the year. And as Mitch has said to you, one of the ways to see that he does that is he cleaned up the site even before he has approval, because this was being used as a garbage dump. And even though he had no obligation to do so, he cleaned it up immediately because that's the kind of person that Tony is. It continues by saying he has been evaluated by the DEQ many times and always meets or is below the applicable metrics for noise and dust. He has passed all inspections and is always making sure safety measures are being followed. He is truly a business partner within the community. And Mr. Rappaport, with your approval, if you want, I have these to pass out. Your office was very kind to copy it for me since I wasn't in the office today. But if you want, I can pass these up to you and you can pass these out. Your choice.
Certainly, Counsel. Very quickly, though, I doubt we're going to have time to read the opinion, so I'm going to offer the following question to you for everybody so that we can be confident that you've given us an accurate and candid reading of that opinion. You are an active practicing attorney licensed under the state of Michigan, is that correct?
I'm a practicing attorney in the state of Michigan.
You are subject to ethical requirements of truthfulness and candor towards a tribunal,
Yes, I am.
and you take that seriously?
I absolutely positively do.
Please pass out those documents. I don't like it when people hand me things. I'm like Tony Stark that way.
Don't want to get on the wrong side of anybody in this room. But yes, I quote, when I was reading the opinion to you, I actually quoted to you exactly what they said without changing a single word. And I'll tell you, after that hearing, we worked out everything with the City of Detroit, and there have been no issues with the City of Detroit after that hearing, none. We get along great with the old administration. We have every reason to believe we will get along with the new administration as well. But this is simply a parking lot that, as Mitch said, I mean, in the front, closest to the residents, we're going to have trucks that are parked there trailers are parked there for weeks without anybody moving them. So that's not something that's going to cause any disruption. As Mo said, you have something here where it could have a much worse use, a higher intensity use, and still be within ordinance. We are 100% within the ordinance. We're putting up berms, trees. Everything is going through Tony's existing site, so he's not coming in off, increasing traffic anywhere. I'll save the rest of what I was going to say until I respond to whatever complaints there are, but I would just end by saying, as the Planning Commission noted, and as Mo said, we have met each and every requirement, and there is no basis to deny it. So I hope that this panel approves it. If you have any questions, I'll be more than happy to answer.
Thank you very much, Counsel. We will almost certainly hear from you again.
Okay, thank you.
All right, this is, in fact, a special land use and a public hearing. Now, before I open up the public hearing to the audience, I want to make a few things very, very clear. Number one, there's a lot of you. I think that's pretty obvious. I am going to be limiting commentary to 5 minutes, which I will be attempting to track, and I'm going to try to be generous with the time as much as I can. But I want to make sure that everybody has an opportunity to be heard, and that any of your reasonable concerns are heard not only by us, but also by the petitioner, because it is one of our major functions here to provide a forum whereby you can actually raise your concerns and have those heard by somebody most likely to be able to take action effective to address them. Okay? That being said, I also want to, we're gonna go to civics class here for a minute. I want to make sure that everybody understands that they do have a First Amendment right to be heard, and to be heard as you wish to be heard. You will be heard as you present yourself. I do have to point out, though, that the more rational and reasonable you present yourself, the more likely your argument is to be taken seriously. Please exercise an amount of respect for other people while they are speaking, and please do not speak out of turn. I will attempt to hear from everybody. And to that respect, if I do need to call time on you, I am open to the possibility of re-recognizing people to finish their thoughts. However, please do not attempt to be re-recognized while there are people who wish to be heard for the first time. Now, that said, we are limited in what we can do for you. These matters of zoning are controlled by Supreme Court precedent. We have the ability to do zoning because we have under the Constitution, we have under a ruling under Village of Euclid versus Amber Realty. We have the ability under the Police Powers Act to control zoning that is reasonably necessary. Otherwise, the Fourth Amendment controls, and people are allowed to do what they want to with the property that they own. Our ability to address your concerns will be limited to factual things that are reasonably necessary for us to do. We do recognize that very many of you have expressed your concerns in writing to us, that you wish this not to move forward, but there is only a limited amount that we can do and that we can address, okay? That being said, every member up here is a community member. We are not employed by the city. We are certainly not employed by Mr. Callow, and definitely not by Mike. We will vote our conscience, and we will vote on our conscience based on what we hear today. None of us have made up our decisions. Are we all good with that? Fantastic. Hopefully, I do not have to remind anybody of their manners. And thank you very much. With that, I would like to open it up for public comment on this matter. Is there anybody on my right that wishes to speak? Did I scare you off? Sir in the blue, please rise to the podium and be recognized.
My name's William Potter. I live at 37575 Florence. I'm sitting on my back porch and I look right over at this property, which is a beautiful forest, mature, huge oak trees. There's a drain that runs behind our house that connects with a drain that runs. I think about where that wall's gonna go. I'm concerned about what they're gonna do with that drain, because all our properties drain back that way. And just, Westland don't need another parking lot. We got plenty of cement, and I like to preserve green spaces. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Is there anybody on my left that would wish to speak? Sir, if you can, sir with the immaculate beard, if you could please rise to the podium and be recognized.
Greetings. My name is Brian Hopkins. I have recused myself from the Planning Commission, so I'm only speaking to you as a concerned citizen. I'm a lifelong citizen of Westland. I raised my family here. I've gone to school here. I have a small business here. So I'm pretty invested in the community. One of the things that I'd like to say on the attorneys that had made mention of the violations is they are not attacks on Mr. Callow. That is not the intention. They may have been solved in court, but it does not make a difference if it was solved. They were issued. This is public record. The problems are nearly 300 violations that were special land use, which is what we're dealing with. They were also dust impacts, which he made comment that, yes, that they were a crushing plant, and this is a different thing, but the whole sense of this is not to talk about whether it's a crushing plant or a trucking plant. The idea is that ordinance violations are probably going to occur at this location. Do we have the ability to control them once they happen? And what is the plan as that goes forward for the residents? The other thing that I'd like to address is the economic impact on the residential property values and the city tax base. This neighborhood consists of approximately 25 homes. Collectively, those homes contribute roughly $125,000 in annual property taxes revenue to the city. The average property tax in Westland is $2,400 per home. Based on that figure, it would take roughly 52 average homes to generate the same tax contribution that these 25 current homes produce. That matters. This neighborhood is not marginal in terms of fiscal contribution. It's a high-value residential area that generates substantial revenue per parcel. The special land use decision before you should include consideration of whether the proposed activity could negatively affect adjacent residential property values. If home values decline due to increased traffic, dust, noise, or compatibility concerns, the financial impact is not isolated to one or two homes. Residential real estate functions comparatively. If the highest value homes in an area begin to lose value or stagnate, that shift becomes part of the market data used for surrounding sales and assessments. It creates a domino effect. If these 25 homes, which currently generate approximately $125,000 annually, cannot maintain their values, that decline influences compatible sales, assessed values, and ultimately the city's tax base beyond just the imminent block. This is not speculative. Property valuation is based on comparable market data. If adjacent uses introduce conditions perceived as incompatible or detrimental, buyers adjust what they are willing to pay. The ordinance requires consideration of whether a special land use will be detrimental to the adjacent property or impair the use of the enjoyment of the neighboring land. The economic stability of a high contributing residential neighborhood is directly tied to that finding. Protecting residential character is not just about aesthetics. It's about fiscal responsibility. The city should weigh whether the incremental benefit of this industrial expansion outweighs the potential risk to a residential area that currently provides substantial tax revenue. A decision that preserves residential value protects both homeowners and the city's long-term financial base. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Under 5 minutes, too. Is there anybody additionally on my right? Sir? The nice gray shirt.
Hi, Mark Howard, 5921 Vinoy Road. been a lifelong, since 1968, resident of Westland. Trucking industry is my life also, 44 years in it. So I had some concerns about it. Hours of operation, I just heard 7 to 7. It doesn't exist in the trucking world. People come and go. Truckers are halfway through their day by 7 a.m., so I don't understand that. And I just learned today that dust can't go over an 8-foot wall. That's interesting. This operation, what I could see from the aerial view, that lot is presently being used by renters. They drive in their cars and they park their vehicles there and they go off. 24-hour operation. There's no way it can't be. They run portable reefer units on those trailers. You hear that. It rumbles, it vibrates. There's other things and activities that go on in those type of lots. Those lots are everywhere in the city of Detroit. They're everywhere. They come and go all the time. So I don't believe it belongs near or up against, adjacent to a residential property. Now, saying that this other new lot is going to be different and trailers are just going to be stored there for long periods of time, I don't know what to say about that. I don't even know what kind of trailers those are, because those are freight trailers and those are freight haulers and there's shipping container trailers in there. So they're not, I don't know what that has to do other than it's a source of income to park trucks. It's a rental space is what it is. It looks to me. I could be wrong, but thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Is there anybody additionally on my left? Gentleman in the very nice white shirt.
Good evening, folks. I'm Rami Farhad. I was born in Westland, Michigan. I want to address the phrase compatible with adjacent residential districts because that term has specific legal meaning. Compatibility does not mean residents have to like it. It does not mean there is already some industry there. And it does not mean that we can build a wall and declare the issue resolved. In zoning law, compatibility means the proposed use must be able to exist next to homes without materially diminishing residential livability. That is the standard. Compatibility asks whether the use preserves reasonable, quiet environment for homeowners, whether it maintains an established character of the neighborhood, whether it avoids excessive external impacts such as noise, truck traffic, vibration, lighting, or dust, whether the scale and intensity of the operation overwhelms surrounding residential development, and whether buffering is realistically capable of mitigating those impacts. Those are measurable land use factors, not subjective preferences. The Commission's obligation is to determine whether the proposed special land use can operate in a location without materially impairing adjacent residential property. If the operation introduces sustained heavy truck traffic into residential setting, if it alters the fundamental character of the area, or if buffering cannot realistically neutralize those impacts, then compatibility becomes difficult to support. Compatibility is not about whether industrial use is lawful somewhere in the city. It is whether this specific use and this scale of intensity can exist next to a specific homes without degrading residential livability. That finding must be supported by evidence on the record. If the impact cannot fully mitigate the compatibility standards is not satisfied regardless of walls, landscaping, or partial screening. Further, I would like to address the operational relationship between 37925 Florence and 38005 Florence. The proposed special land use at 37925 Florence cannot operate independently. Based on the site layout, truck circulation requires access through 38005 Florence, and the trucks must cross the DTE transmission easement to reach the expanded yard area. That indicates it is not two separate self-contained sites. This is one integrated industrial operation spread across multiple parcels. That distinction is legally significant. Zoning analysis is based on how the use function in reality, not simply how parcels are numbered on the map. If truck access, circulation, and operations are interconnected, then the parcels operate as a single unified unit. Because of that, I am respectfully asking the city to clearly state on the record how 38005 Florence is being classified. Is it being treated as a conforming use under the current zoning ordinance, or is it being treated as a lawful non-conforming use? If 38005 is a lawful non-conforming use, established zoning principles generally prohibit expansion of that onto additional acreage or intensification beyond its original footprint. If it is conforming, then the entire integrated operation across both parcels must comply fully with current coordinate standards and the required special land use findings. That indicates compatibility with adjacent residential property, adequacy of access, performance standards, and non-detrimental impact. The classification matters because it determines a legal framework for expansion. This is one unified industrial operation, then the commission's findings must address it as such, not as isolated pieces. Before approval, there should be clarity on the record regarding the status of 38005 and how the status affects permissibility of expansion at 37925. Without that clarity, it becomes difficult to make legal sound findings under the coordinates. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. If I can have you retained for just a moment, I want to be very clear about the language that you were citing.
Excuse me. What, sir?
You are citing specific language that we need to reference. Are you referencing the Westland zoning ordinance, section 13.4 of 248, item 6? Which reads, "The proposed special land use will be compatible with adjacent uses of land in terms of location, size, and character, and will have no negative impact on adjacent property or the surrounding neighborhood."
Correct, sir.
And that's the only language you wanted to call to our attention?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Is there anybody on my right that wishes to speak on this matter? Anybody additionally on my left? Don't all rush up there and say they want to cut in front of anybody.
Good afternoon or good evening, I'm not sure where we are. Hello. I wanted to make a couple of quick comments before I get into my comments. I don't know when this photo was taken, but Mr. Callow's son mentioned they cleared some trash out. Most of the trees in there are now gone, and when they're through, the area on the right is going to look like the area on the left. It's not going to be this nice little treed-in area with this buffer. Also, regarding the trucks, I didn't hear anything about refrigeration trucks. Are there going to be reefers that are going to be parked here that are going to be running nonstop? Brought in, dropped off, reefers turned on, and then the driver drives away. Meanwhile, all the people living there are listening to the reefers. Also, council mentioned that the violations that were brought before the council today, or the board, excuse me, were all disposed of. What should be noted in an operation like this, unless Mr. Callow himself is there committing a crime, he's not going to be charged with anything. But all of the larcenies, all of the robberies, all of the assaults, anything that's going on there in the wee hours of the night aren't going to go to him. They're going to go to the person who's the victim, or maybe who's being caught. So to say that there were no issues at other locations and therefore this should operate just the same, can't go by that. I'd be interested to have seen council brought in all of the police responses to the existing operation. That's what I would like to have seen. How many police calls have been there what have been the responses? Calls of people screaming at night, which I know that's been there. Prowlers coming into the neighborhood. Reports of shots fired. And you can check on all that. Also, the R5 parcel, as outlined in this petition, is, the use of it is being proposed, it's not being proposed for a home or a yard or any residential use. It's being used exclusively to serve the industrial special land use, specifically for stormwater retention supporting that operation. The stated intent of the district, the R5 district, exists to protect residential character and preserve the land and the residential purposes. Regarding this particular petition and the scope of the project, stormwater management is a necessary component of the project. The question before the commission is not whether retention is useful. The question is whether dedicating residentially zoned land solely to facilitate an industrial use is consistent with the intent of the R5 district. Now, north of that property that's to the west of Barber Street, that's all owned by Tormino.
Sir,
If he came
if
in,
I can interrupt you for just one moment, we are not talking about an R5 district, we're talking about an R2 district and an I1 district.
yes, for the,
I just wanted to
right,
factually
I'm sorry.
make sure that we are on the same page factually.
Yes. Yeah. So the property to the west of Barber Street, just to the north of this proposed project, that's also R2, and it's owned by Mr. Tumino. If he were to move to get that rezoned, like this property was rezoned, and got it R3 and came before this commission and said, I want to put in multiple residential units there. One of the things that we'd have to do is have a retention pond. And if he had a retention pond in this R2 class, that would comply with the ordinance. This, going with an industrial component, does not. Anyhow, the ordinance requires, I've got a few notes that I typed out, so I'm sorry, I'm trying to stay structured here. The ordinance requires that special land use be consistent with the purpose and intent of the zoning district in which it's located. That's my reference to, you know, if we were going to do a multi-family versus an industrial, which, you know, I've got a lot of history in this city, and I know that this all used to be R2. In fact, they were going to build houses back there at one point. That fell through. Then we were going to have a marijuana. Now it's an industrial area, and if you go anywhere in the developed areas around Westland, Livonia, Plymouth, Romulus, Canton, there's no communities that have trucking allowed in residential areas. Westland is the only city that allows, under this classification, the I-2, to have trucking. That's normally a heavy industrial.
I've given you a little bit of extra time.
Thank you.
Based on my interruption. Thank you very much for your
Sure, if you want
commentary.
me, I'll come back.
I did want to clarify that we do not have trucking activities in residential zones. However, I do recognize the accuracy of your statement. We have them near residential zones. And I believe that that is a big part of the problem here.
I can move with that distinction. Thank you.
Thank you. At this time, before I return to my right-left thing, I want to see if we can hear from any of the people that sent us actual correspondence. Do we have Lauren Hansick in the, oh, Lauren, did you want to say some words? I don't want to lose you in all the, okay. So if you could please rise to the podium and be recognized, ma'am.
Okay, my name is Lauren. I am a lifelong resident of Westland. I have raised my family here, 2 children in Westland. If I may, before I start, can I give this to you to maybe pass down? This is my tax assessment of my home. So on the paper that you're receiving is my personal tax assessment of my home currently. It is $10,600 yearly. You guys are not you personally, but the city of Westland will be raising it again this year. And I guess the biggest problem that I have is not how much I'm paying right now, but how much I'm paying to live next to a trucking yard. It's astronomical. I'm being charged a huge amount to hear trucking sounds all day, all night, lights, the dust. I heard about the wall, again, first time I've ever heard that an 8-foot wall is gonna stop it. It also comes down the street that they drive down. So it's not just to that parking lot, but the road comes down. So unless they're gonna block it somehow, the entire road, it's still gonna come down. 6 months ago or longer, I expressed our concerns that we were having then. We talked about this. I sent emails into the city. I sent pictures, attachments, videos, all showing what we deal with now and what we've dealt with. I know they said that they have been there for 26 years, and I haven't been, but when I bought this property, that is what it looked like. It no longer looks like that. That is not a current representation of what we live with. So they, last year, took many of those trees, they thinned it completely out. Those trees are not there anymore. That's when all these problems really became in effect. That's when the dust happened. That's when the trash came in. That's when the lighting came in. That's when the sounds got worse. The forest blocked most of it for us. We had a very peaceful home. I wouldn't have bought a home looking at a trucking yard. I would have never purchased it. Honestly, I didn't even know they were really there until they took all the trees out. Now, half of them have been removed, and the other half are looking to be removed, and they're gonna come right up to the property line. I will look out my window, as I do now, but even closer. I'll have dinner staring at the trucks. I'll sleep, feeling the vibration all night long. Currently, again, I sent in videos of a glass of water that shakes in my living room. That's what we deal with currently. So that doesn't mean that it's not gonna get 100 times worse when they're hundreds of feet closer to what they are. The impact of what it currently is and the fact that nobody has helped us currently. When we listed all of our objections a year ago almost, nothing has changed. They have done absolutely nothing to help what currently is there. Not what's coming, but currently. Currently, there's violations. Just a month or two ago, I had somebody staring in our windows at midnight. Some man was in our window. My daughter was home from a tournament and had fallen asleep on the couch, too tired to go upstairs, woke up screaming. We called the Westland police. They showed up, couldn't find a guy, immediately said to me, "Give us a minute, we're gonna go next door and look through the trucking yard." I said, "Why the trucking yard?" Just off of pure response, like, why would you think there? Check my neighbors. They said, "Oh, trust me, they came from there." I said, "Why would you say that?" He said, "Because we have nonstop problems there." He said, "There's constantly break-ins, constantly people being in the yard, they had a truck, an entire semi-truck stolen a year ago out of the yard. Somebody broke in and stole a semi-truck out of the yard. They cut off the catalytic converters. So it's easy for them. They walk through, they come straight up to my house is next, and then they work their way down the line. I have security photos from my home cameras of a man wearing a ski mask, breaking into all our cars, breaking into our things. You know, my daughter has witnessed men urinating out there. There's no public bathroom for them. There's no on-site buildings at all. So when a trucker has to use the bathroom before they get in their car and they go home, they use our forest. An 8-foot wall isn't going to help when I currently, from my house, you can see where my house backs up straight to it. I currently can see them from where they are now. Again, all these problems are happening now that aren't being solved. And now you guys are asking us to put it even closer to my house. I will literally be living in a trucking yard and paying almost $11,000 a year in taxes. So I ask all of you to just remember what we deal with. We have neighbors that have to power wash their houses monthly because of the dust. We can't open our windows, which is everybody's favorite part in Michigan. As soon as the weather warms up, we want to open our windows. As soon as it hits that fall time, you want to open your windows. You want to sleep with them open. I can't. I cannot. I'm too scared someone's going to crawl through one of them, or I'm going to be choking on diesel fumes. So again, all I want is for everybody to have the thought, what if you lived in these houses? What if you were there and you had to
Ms.
listen
Hanzik,
to it?
That is time. I've been very generous.
Thank you.
Thank you. I have a item here from, it's Notary Public from Brittany Thomas. Ms. Hanzik, is this also from you? It's an affidavit apparently from a Mike Tripoli, a realty agent?
I gave that to you during study session.
Okay. And this is a thing that you'd like to have us consider on the record?
It's notarized.
I see that, and I'm going to summarize the commentary as I read it, and I'll ask you to confirm if it's a fair summary. It is from a realtor agent who would like us to be aware that there are with a facility such as we have in consideration here, it does have a tendency to make a property more difficult to alienate, but not necessarily impossible. It is a difficulty according to his professional opinion. Is that a fair assessment?
Yeah, I mean, he's also an owner too, so he owns a real estate company, so he's very knowledgeable in every.
Oh, I don't doubt that he's professional. The affidavit was quite fair in my opinion, but he didn't say that it definitely does a thing. It has a tendency to do a thing. It is important as far as constitutional analysis is concerned. We had a number of individuals submit with our packets. Is there a Donna McGlade in present? Seeing none. Donna had raised some very valid concerns that I believe if I'm required, I'll be addressing. Alicia Rodriguez. Not seeing her in the audience. Alicia wanted to make us aware of certain issues that have already been raised. Otherwise, I have some notes on her item as well. I did want to take a note to address the public safety risks. We take them seriously, and certainly I'm pretty sure that Mr. Callow does as well, because certainly if a whole semi gets stolen out of his yard, I'm sure he's got a concern about a bad element, and he wants to address it. However, the quote-unquote horrifying reality of a convicted child sex trafficker living nearby is probably beyond his ability to control, and probably has no business in discussed without a direct link that we could actually consider, which, if it were true, we definitely want to consider it. But without a direct link, it seems very difficult for us to actually address. That being said, I'm going to return to our right and left, and hopefully we'll get through this in a reasonable amount of time. Is there anybody on my right that would wish to speak more on this matter? Anybody on my left? Sir, just before I give you the floor, I want to make sure, is there anybody in the audience that has not spoken that would like to be recognized before this gentleman speaks again? I see two, so we'll get back to you, okay?
It's very brief.
Ma'am, in the gray, if you can please rise, and I'd love to be heard.
Say something really quick.
Oh, that's okay. He used the whole 5 minutes. He ain't quick.
All right, I'm Barbara Allen. I live at 37555 Florence. I've been there for 25 years. We chose this neighborhood because it was quiet, peaceful. At night, you could hear frogs in the ponds. There's deer that walk through the yards. We have all kinds of wildlife. The streets used to be calm. You knew your neighbors. You could sit outside without any noise. That's why I stayed. But lately, it's changed. Now we have diesel fuel smells. I hear backup beepers. There are big plumes of dust from the trucks constantly moving. I can't open my windows during the nice spring and summer weather. My siding needs cleaning monthly. I can't even enjoy my deck in good weather. I'm not here to fight and argue about all the legal points. I'm just asking, please fix what's already happening before making it bigger. You know, there are problems now. Solve those problems. I have 2 small dogs. I take them out at night. I'm approached by men coming from that way on a dark street with no sidewalks and no street lights. I can't call the police every time, but I have cameras, and if anybody would like to see these people, I can give them the pictures. It's not safe now. What's it going to be later?
Thank you very much. I saw a hand in the back, the gentleman in the red. Can you please rise and be recognized?
Sorry for my tardiness. I'm coming from work.
I'll send you the principal's office later.
So my name is Mark View. I'm a UAW member. I grew up in Westland. I have many family members that stay in Westland, including an elderly relative that lives in that exact neighborhood, and that's why I'm going to make it a point to be here at this meeting. Now, everything that they have said has happened with my grandmother, with other family members in that area, as they were house sitting for her, my aunt. People come in the middle of the night, knocking on the door, going away. She doesn't have cameras out there because she doesn't believe in this technology. She knows she's being watched by everybody all the time anyways. But like it's just outrageous that stuff like this goes on, you know, and I'm all about jobs and everybody needs jobs and everything like that. And Westland has plenty of places for people to work, plenty of areas for that kind of work to be going on. But a neighborhood is not one for people to be walking around like that, urinating in front of children and elderly people, knocking on doors on all the different hours of the evening. So I ask if there's anything that you guys can do, please do it. You know, our biggest in the labor movement is an injury to one is an injury to all, and I believe that's how Westland feels too. They're all the citizens here, okay? Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much for your words. All right, I'm going to return to our right-left thing, and until we don't get anybody else. Anybody on my right? And before I call on the gentleman with the nice white shirt again, does anybody in the audience wish to speak that has not yet spoken? Please, say your piece, sir.
And you know what? I know I had an agenda when I was speaking earlier, and I do know I was long. This is not long. I spent significant times there with friends. It's abhorrent. The noise. I mean, that's not a breeding ground for crime? People milling about at night? I've been there. Okay? It's not a joke. And I'm not saying you're taking it as a joke, but it is noisy, it is dangerous, and you're inviting trouble by making it even bigger. Done.
Thank you very much for your closing thoughts, sir.
Yeah.
Once again, and last time, anybody on my right? Anybody on my left?
Real quick.
Yeah, real quick.
I just want to say, I'm not attacking Mr. Callow. There is no reason to believe, though, that a yard that's left open that anybody can come and go out of is going to be free of problems. And that doesn't attach to him. That's the nature of the beast. Thank you.
And along that lines, if I can take a little bit of privilege here, I personally, and I hope Mr. Callow doesn't take any of these concerns as a personal attack. I certainly don't see them as anything of that nature. However, what we are hearing is significant and valid concerns for the citizens, and certainly most of these citizens have expressed concern over wanting the expansion to happen. However, what we should actually take away is, in the event that the expansion does happen, that a good neighbor would want to address these concerns as much as possible and make the expansion as palatable to the neighborhood as possible. I think that's a fair assessment overall. That being said, I'm going to open up the matter to the commission. If I can please have Mr. Callow return to the podium, potentially with his engineer and attorney.
David, I'm sorry, I think Michael wanted to address the commission one last time, just on the.
Oh, he certainly can. I'm just
Sorry,
inviting
I
the
just
whole
wanted to
team
make
up.
sure that he had time.
Thank you so much, Brandon.
If you want Tony to talk first, that's fine. Otherwise, we had planned that I was going to talk first. I'm just going to say something, and if you have any final things for Tony.
We're very adaptable. We can put things in order.
Okay, then, first of all, I want to thank you for your last statements. We certainly do not take anything personally, and we do want to take the time to address every one of these comments, so you can see that we do actually care. We're people that do care. And by the way, I don't think I introduced myself at the beginning. My name is Michael Weiss. I'm an attorney at Howard & Howard, Royal Oak, Michigan. I've been licensed to practice for 34 and a half years. Can't be that long, but it actually is true. And if I apologize if I misspoke on anybody's name. I tried to get what they said their name was. And if I mispronounce it, it certainly is not intentional. I just have a hard time hearing when they're speaking forward, I'm behind them, and I may not have catched their name. So let me try to do my best. And I'll go in the order that the people said things. Mr. Potter was the first person to speak. He wants to preserve green space. That's not what we're here for. I mean, it's zoned. We're allowed to use our property, and it's not to preserve green space. As you mentioned in the beginning, there could be something a whole lot worse. Manufacturing there 24/7, nonstop, and that would still be allowed. We have a facility where a truck comes once a day to leave, and then they bring it back at night, sometimes leaving it for weeks. That's it. These trucks are $160,000 each, owned by the person who's driving them. They're not walking up and down places at midnight. They're long gone. By the way, they're not even there yet. But this place is from 7 to 7. The concerns that everybody have about people at midnight doing something, they're not the people that are going to be on this facility, because this facility is open from 7 to 7. They can't get in. They're not taking their trucks out then. They're not knocking on doors. You want a portage on, we'll put a portage on, but they're not doing the things that they're being accused of doing, because they're, again, 7 to 7, period. Second, Mr. Hopkins was the next person to speak, and he talked about there were issued violations. So there must be something. Officers issue violations, and then somebody has the thing called a hearing. And the hearing officer determines if the violation is meritorious or not. Every violation against Tony's concrete crushing facility, which is a totally different facility, was ruled not to be valid. So yes, there were complaints, and then the city of Detroit took those complaints to a hearing officer who determined every one was not valid. You can't use that to deny just people. I'm sure each one of you have been cited for a driving offense that may not have been true, or different things that may not have been true. And if those stopped you from doing something, that's just not fair. But again, there's not a single complaint that has not been dismissed. We didn't do anything to get them dismissed, other than prove they were not valid. With respect to violations will occur, Tony has this facility next door for 26 years. No violations. You want to tell me that he's such a bad person? He's been in your community for 25 years, and nobody has caused any violation. Nothing. So you're going to assume that somebody who's walking and looks in somebody's window had something somehow to do with him? As you said, the same thing about the sex offender who lives down the street or somewhere. There is no way to know that that is somebody affiliated with Tony. And it isn't because, again, there's nobody there at night. It closes at 7 p.m. In terms of the, I'm sorry, what? Oh, I thought you said something. I didn't want to be rude.
Yes, I did.
I'm telling you to be respectful.
And I am being respectful. And I can say what I want. I have a First Amendment right, and I would just highly tell you, I will do what I want to do. You
Mr.
don't
Reed?
want me to talk, because if I do talk, you're not going to be answering just to a city. You're going to be answering to a U.S. attorney.
Please, Mike. Mr. Reed, I did ask that everybody be respectful of the speakers, and in the event that the administration was having a conversation, a side conversation, while one of the speakers were speaking, I will actually address that issue. That is not for you to address, sir.
Yes.
Administration, please be respectful of the speakers. Please continue.
Thank you. And I don't take any offense. I didn't even hear what you said, so I'm not taking any offense. I'm just trying to respond to things. In terms of property value decreasing, again, as you said, this is a low-intensity operation. A truck is parked there, it leaves the site, and it comes back 12 hours later. The driver drops it off and then takes his car and goes home for the night. That's it. There is, and again, we could have an industrial site. That would be far worse. We have a low-intensity operation that is not going to cause issues and hasn't. Again, no violations. Dust, if the current facility had dust, I'm sure we would have some violations. We don't have any. But this one is going to be paved. And paved stops the dust. That's one thing that, and by the way, that's one of the things we argued with the city of Detroit. We wanted a paved site. They said, no, we want green things, so we don't want you to pave it. And we're like, but if you want gravel, gravel generates dust. And they said, no, we want you to have gravel. And then they complained there was dust, which, by the way, again, never left the facility. And we said, fine, we'll do whatever you want. Let us have gravel or let us have, and we paved it at a cost of $500,000. We didn't have to, but we did it. And guess what? No dust. There wasn't any dust before, but again, no dust. But again, there's no evidence that the dust is coming from that facility. Mr. Howard was making, I think his last name was Howard. He says, again, they keep coming back and forth. They come one time, and then they come again 10 hours later or 12 hours later. The lighting, I think his name was Mr. Farland, and I apologize again if I'm mispronouncing anyone's name. It's 100% unintentional. He was talking about the lighting. The wall blocks, that was the intent. We increased it again. A headlight is 4 feet off the ground. The wall is 8 feet. It shouldn't be able to go over the wall. Headlights don't go up, headlights go ahead. So it shouldn't be able to bother anybody. And again, we've offered to put up trees on the other side. We offered to do that, they don't want it. It's really, they don't want anything to be developed there. But the point is, we have the right to have something developed there. And this is the lowest thing you can possibly have. You want something worse? That's what's going to end up, that's what could end up happening. In terms of multiple parcels, the gentleman who left with the nice white shirt, I missed his name, I apologize. But he's talking about that we're driving through our parcel. That was something we did to try to help the residents, because originally we were going to come off a different street. And they say, no, 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 just drive across what you already have so you don't have to increase anything. We said, fine. So we don't have to do that if that's supposedly an issue. It isn't legally an issue, at least not that I'm aware of. I don't claim to know every single law, but I don't think that is an issue. But again, we decided to have the people come through the existing site to minimize the impact on the neighborhood, because that's what they asked us to do. And now they're complaining that we can't do that. Well, you got to pick one. We're more than happy to go out to do it outside and not go through, but that's going to have more of an impact. Doing it inside makes it much less impact. Again, in terms of number 6, that you asked that gentleman too, again, it said, what the conclusion was is the proposed land use is compatible with the surrounding neighborhood and includes existing wooded setbacks and proposed screening that reduces any negative impact on nearby residential properties. We're willing to do more if you want. Like I said, we're willing to put up a berm on the other side of the property. It would be on their property, but we pay for it. $40,000 worth of beautiful landscaping. They don't want that.
To remind the audience, please do not speak while a speaker is speaking. Nobody interrupted you, ma'am.
The question about refrigerated trucking, they take the loads and they drop it off, and they don't leave the, you don't pick up and leave the refrigerated truck there. You take the load, you drop it off where you're supposed to take it, and that's what you do. There is no refrigerated trucking. The retention pond, again, that helps them. It makes it look a whole lot better. They don't want it, then we'll put it back on the other side. We thought putting it nearest the resident would make it much nicer for the residents. So we moved it from where it was to closer to them, because it looks better, frankly, than having nothing there. So again, we did that to help, not to hurt anybody. You want us to move it to the other side of the property, away from them? That's fine too. But again, we did it to help, but now they're complaining about it. It complies with I-2. Lauren's comments, and she acknowledged that she bought the house after the property already existed as is. So complaining about the existing facility, she knew what she was getting into when she bought the house, because the existing facility had been there beforehand. So why she wants to complain about it, I'm not sure that does anything, but we're not here about the existing facility. We're here about a new facility that, again, is even less intrusive than the current one, because one, it has paved parking, two, it has elevated walls, it has berms, it has trees, it has one time in, one time out per day, and sometimes they leave the trucks there for 2 weeks. So it's totally different situation, and again, 7 to 7 is not at night. Dust, again, a truck driving once a day is not generating dust. And the paving solves that. And again, it's not 7 to 7, it's 7 to 7, so people coming in at night, she has no knowledge of whether that person had anything to do with our facility. The person that she walked at, who's walking the other way, an unnamed person walking the other way, does not necessarily come from our facility. When our facility is closed and that person's there 5 hours later, well, I don't know why she connects it to our facility. Maybe the police said it could be. They looked, they didn't find anything. If they connected it to our facility, she'd have a complaint. The police would have pursued something. There isn't anything connected to our facility because it wasn't open. So I don't know how, you have, these truckers own their trucks. It's very important. They own their truck. That's how they make a living. And those trucks cost an average of $160,000 each. They are not doing anything to jeopardize that truck because that's how they make a living. If they're sitting here doing something that causes the police to come, they're going to lose the ability to use that truck. They're not doing anything to cause any trouble. I know Mitch had something he wanted to say, and I think Tony did too. Unless you have any questions of me, I have nothing further to say.
All right, I think Mike addressed the majority of the comments that I had noted. A couple other things. So there was mentioned that Tony has removed a lot of the trees, which has caused more light to come through from the existing lot. This is not true. Tony has not removed any trees, just brush on the property. In fact, we've been told by Lauren and Brian that they removed all their own trees on their property to make room for a guest house. As far as the dust concerns, again, that's on the existing lot, doesn't have anything to do with this. It may have been slightly hyperbolic to say dust cannot travel over an 8-foot wall, but the point is that this is a paved lot and will not generate dust. As far as property values, I have the ordinance here. It says, the proposed special land use shall provide the maximum feasible enhancement of the surrounding environment, shall not unreasonably interfere with or discourage the appropriate development and use of adjacent land, or unreasonably affect their value. In determining whether this requirement has been met, consideration shall be given to the provision of landscaping and other site amenities, and to the bulk placement and materials of construction. Neither the proposed placement or materials of construction are inconsistent with surrounding properties. The decorative concrete wall and landscape berms are what will be visible. The landscaping not only complies with the ordinance, but has been designed with direct input from the residents to cater to their preferences. Neither of these are incompatible with surrounding properties.
Mitch, I'm going to interrupt you for just a moment. Are you citing the
It's
Westland zoning ordinance sub 3?
13.4G.
Sub 3?
I have 13.1G, I believe. I can show you what I'm looking at.
Our write-up has one being location of proposed special land use regarding traffic generated. I believe you're citing to this passage, is that accurate? When you started citing language, I saw some of our panel members act confused. I want to make sure that we're following along with you because you're going quite fast.
As far as I can tell, it's 13.4.1.
Does it match the one that I'm referencing here?
It does.
Fantastic.
I don't know which left out of that. Bigger paragraph here.
May I? Okay, I find it to be substantially similar. Thank you. Please continue, and I'm sorry for the interruption.
And then as far as the existing complaints about existing sound, dust, et cetera, if the administration has found that the proposed screening is sufficient for the proposed use, would it not also improve conditions in relation to the existing lot as well, which is 350 feet farther away from the existing homes? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mitch. Mr. Callow?
Yeah. I think my team covered just about everything
Well, they certainly took plenty of time.
Yeah. I'd just like to say that I've been a business partner here in Westland for 30 years, and I do really care about the community and the neighbors, and
And we absolutely appreciate it. I'm sure that my commissioners will give you the respect that you've certainly earned today, but I would also anticipate that their questions are going to be quite direct. So please accept them in the spirit that they're offered. I'm going to open it up to the commission now, and we'll get this underway as best we can.
thank you all for your time.
Opening, sir?
Yes.
Mr. Callow? They're going to ask you some questions.
Oh, okay.
He can summon you if he needs your assistance. Anybody on my right wish to speak?
Audience.
I'm sorry?
I think you got more questions from the audience.
That time has expired.
Okay.
Anybody on my right?
Can I yield my time to somebody in the audience?
Yes, but I'm going to limit the thing to 5 minutes.
I yield my time to you. Go.
Thank you, Mr. Durante. May I approach?
No. No,
Come on
the petitioner has the podium. You have the floor, though.
Very well.
Please speak.
You can speak.
You can speak from there, and
So I just want to comment on some of the things that were said about the operation time. The time is from 7 to 7 for only a small number of trailers, not the entire operation. The entire operation goes 24 hours. If you would like, we can go over to the house right now and you can experience what we experience on a daily and nightly basis. I assure you that there's plenty of truck operations going on at this very moment and all through the night.
if I can interrupt for just a moment.
Sure.
You'd like the board to be aware that you are specious about some of the claims that were made, and you'd like us to examine some of the claims that were made by the petitioner.
Well, Mr. Callow's attorney stated this on record, that this was a
I
7 to
understand.
7 operation.
I understand.
It is not.
I understand.
Okay.
I have an entire list here of
Okay.
things that I intend to cover before I'm done.
Well, I just didn't want any falsification.
I understand, and I have a detector for just that sort of thing as well.
Very well.
Okay.
I'm done.
Thank you very much. Anybody on my left? Who dares? Recognizing Ms. Hobbs. Get back to you.
I just had a question. You stated that the trucks that are parked there, they're owned by the people that drive the trucks. What grounds do you have to evict them from their trucks after the business is closed?
We tow them out of there if we have to. We never had to, though.
So they're not present in their trucks when the businesses close at 7 PM? Or are they allowed to be in their own property after the business hours?
Well, first off, there was a mistake that Mike said. It was in the plans. 7 to 7 is what it says in the plans. On the northeast corner by the house is where we plan to go 7 to 7. Probably 95+% of those trucks are within that 7 to 7, but we have been going 24 hours. If a guy's got a load to go here in a grocery store or anywhere here in Westland, they got something that goes out in the middle of the night, a single truck or two will go, very minimum.
Okay, but that's because it's their property, so they can operate within
They
realm
can
of
take their
reason.
truck out whenever they want.
Okay, that's just what I wanted clarification
Yeah.
on. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Hobbs. Anybody additionally on my right, recognizing Ruby Richards?
I just have a comment. Mike said, what can be worse? What can be worse is the fact that her daughter, had to be subjected to somebody looking in the window at her. That's scary, and it's just not acceptable. And the fact that the police knew where to go to look for the person is saying a lot, so I don't think that was nice for you to say, well, what can be worse? Because, that's not fair to her and her family, so.
No, I agree with that. Can I respond to that, though?
Please.
Of course, that's a big issue. Guys that are spending $250,000 on a unit, to provide for their family, to me, they're not bad people. Could you have one bad person? Possibly. If that was the case, I would think that the city of Westland would have called me and said that they had proof that somebody was from that yard, so we could have handled it accordingly. I was never notified about any of that besides the information that you just heard.
If I can take a moment before I forget to ask the question, do you currently have a policy, if you were to discover a bad actor, of banning?
Oh, yes, yeah.
Okay. Is there any additional comments on my left? Recognizing Deborah Fox.
So, your yard is only for parking, correct?
That's correct.
So no trucks are being worked on, or anything like that?
No major repairs on trucks. If somebody's got to walk up and change an airline or something, they can do that. If it's, if something breaks and they can't get air to the truck, they can change it with a set of screwdrivers and some wrenches.
Okay.
But no major work.
How many trucks can you, or I guess it's trucks you can accommodate there?
71. 79.
79 trucks?
Yes.
And the trailers? Or just the trucks?
It would be, they're all a single unit, so it would be a truck and a trailer. We'll call those 79 of those. Or if you look at the yard, it's usually 50% tractors, 70% tractors. The rest of them are just empty trailers.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Oh, that's the picture we wanted?
Yes, thank you.
Fantastic.
So how many altogether? Because there'd be two lots, so.
We're only after the proposed.
Okay. So that was the 79?
But if you pull that screen back up, and I can show you what I meant, up there in the top left is a group of guys, and you can see just trailers on the top left. There's probably 20 of them. They're part of the ones that I was planning to help the neighbors and put over there because they never move. So that would have been a huge buffer for them, plus a few other people going down the line. My goal is to take that whole east side and try and go as far as I can down that line to protect my neighbors.
All right. Is there anybody additionally recognizing Darrell Rounds?
How you doing?
Good, how are you?
All right, so he asked you a question about your policy to deal with bad actors, as he said. Can you just elaborate on that?
I wish I would have brought the rental agreement, or the rental agreements that we have. It's 4 pages. Pretty much covers every single thing you can think of on a rental agreement of things that you cannot do and do.
Can you give like some examples of how you enforce that?
I really can't because, other than just bullet points, throwing trash, loitering, I mean, you could probably tell me more about what was on that, because your firm's the one that set it up.
drafted it. I can answer, I mean, it says no loitering, no screaming, no loud noises, no staying on the tractors, no sleeping overnight, no urinating in public, no doing anything to cause anything other than maintain a normal yard, and that's it. I mean, and if they violate those rules, they're out. So again, they're not staying overnight. They've dropped their truck and they leave. There's no partying, there's no eating, there's no maintenance. They can't take the truck apart and put it together and have trash all over the place. No partying. I mean, anything that's an attorney would probably put in there is in there, saying you can't do it.
So it's, I'm sorry.
I said, who's policing it?
Ms. Hanzik?
Well, let me ask. So it's obvious
I'm going to make
that you-
everybody a promise right now. I'm going to ask at the end if there's anything that's been unasked, and I'd like you to trust us that we are actually going to do an accurate job, at least a reasonably complete job, of getting the answers that you're seeking. And prior to that, please do me the favor of not interrupting so that this can go as smoothly as possible. Thank you.
Good. Can I ask? Okay. So it's obvious that you guys thought about that and you're vested in making sure that your operation. So I guess the question is like, how is that enforced? And then maybe that's more directly to you.
So with all my companies, I have hired 2 chief safety officers. They were officers for the city of Livonia for 30 to 40 years. They're retired and they work for me full-time. So part of their routine is to patrol it in the morning and at night. They have a live camera feed that they also, watch to make sure that everything's okay in that yard, and they enforce anything that they see while they're there to any of the tenants.
Have you had within the last year or so had to take action against any of your renters?
We have.
Okay. Can you expound on that?
Some of them were
If I may,
Well, the reason-
he's not likely to be able to divulge details, but he could probably speak to their existence and ultimately the resolution.
I have no problem talking.
Yeah, and the reason why I'm doing that, because, you have a lot of citizens here that are concerned about safety.
Yeah.
And I want to know,
Sure.
like, how you guys are working to foster a safe environment in the midst of trying to do what you're trying to do.
Yeah.
So that's the reason for my question.
Well, the big ones, and really the only ones that we've had are trash. A lot of them were throwing trash either over the fence or behind the fence. McDonald's bags, Pops, whatever. So we've taken care of that problem, cleaned it all up. And the other one is tires. They were taking old tires that were bald and rolling them up against our fences. So those were the 2 biggest violations that we
Was
had.
this at the Florence? Was this?
The existing.
The existing, okay, all right.
So those were the 2 biggest ones, and they've cured that problem since.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Anybody additionally on my, recognizing David Reed.
Thank you, Mr. Callow. I can tell that you've tried to put a lot into changing what was originally submitted, and I thank you for that. What I would like to know, okay, I understand you have security folks, and that's great, and I understand with, the cameras and all that, because Mr. Hopkins and Ms. Hanzik, they have cameras that run 24/7, 366, and U.S. Homeland Security, I spoke specifically to Special Agent in Charge Marlon Miller, who is the head of Detroit Homeland Security for U.S. Department of Homeland Security, reporting directly to Secretary Noem. And that area, it's in and of itself, is being investigated by U.S. Homeland Security. Now, I know that you are not responsible for everybody's actions, but it's kind of like when you have a fast food place, if they don't take care of making sure the dumpster's enclosed or things are cleaned up, you're going to get critters, you're going to get mice, you're going to get those things, and, that's part of what goes with the property. Is there anything that you're willing to do, and in addition to all of this wonderful stuff you're to do here, to allay their fears of safety? Because I will tell you, I make no secret, the Hopkins family, I am friends with them by virtue of meeting Brian on this commission. And I also look at these two kids here, and those are pretty awesome kids. And they're very active. They play sports. They like to be out in their yard. And I have been there in their home at 12:30, sometimes 1 o'clock in the morning, sitting in the great room. And I remember we were sitting there, and we could see the light coming in from several trucks. And I mean, it was bright. I mean, literally, it was blinding my sight. And, we moved into the kitchen. Those things are not good. I mean, when you look at their house, I'll tell you, I've seen a lot of wonderful houses in Westland. I mean, I live in the last area of the best zoning in the city, and their house is pretty sharp, and it's pretty nice, and I would hate to see them not feel safe for their kids. I mean, their son is 9, and I think, Kenzie, you're what, 13? 14. So, they still have some time there, and, Kenzie's out there playing baseball, and, I want kids to feel safe. Families are what grow a city, and so do businesses. And I want you to be able to do your businesses, but is there anything you're willing to do to have a even better monitoring? Like, have somebody there at least 24/7 so that they can walk that and see that? Because, I know people that work in security, and they watch, closed circuit cameras. You don't always see everything because the camera moves over here, or it moves over here, or they may sneeze, or they may go off to the bathroom and they miss something. I think that just even for the protection of the assets on your property and for the reputation that you have as a good citizen in this community, it could go a long way that if you had somebody there 24/7 to make sure, hey, there's nothing going on here, and that keeps your property value, keeps your reputation clean, because I don't believe that you have any intention other than giving the best to the city and, doing right by the citizens on Florence. But I think we need to take it a little bit further, because I'll be honest, I wouldn't want it in my property. I mean, I've seen the dust everywhere, and I've been over there when I've said, hey, can you don't you guys even open your windows, or, you sit out and have a barbecue? They can't even really do that. I mean, I know that when Ms. Hansick had a birthday party last year, the dust was just rolling everywhere, and it's like I said, I know you can't control everything, but is there anything you're willing to do to really nail down that security and, nail down what's going on there? Because to me, when U.S. Homeland Security is looking at that specific area and they pulled their server with about 2 years worth of video, they pulled that information. That says a lot. That really says a lot. And I know that, like I said, I know that you're not responsible for anything directly going on in there, but if they're accessing your property, you do kind of like the deep pocket that, they can say, well, if it wasn't for this being here, maybe we wouldn't have this problem. Because I don't think that they don't want you in the neighborhood. I mean, I know them. That's not how they are. I mean, that's just not how Lauren and Brian are. I mean, but I think if you did something to really address the security and the safety and to, abate any potential problems there, I think it would only make your property worth more, and it would make you a good neighbor. Because, I mean, right now the perception is out there. Most people's, perception is their reality, good or bad. And I think it would say a lot for you as a man and as a businessman that if you put something in there 24/7 to, walk the property, look through all that stuff, because, it's definitely not, it's not pleasant, and if we lose good residents like that and their property values keep going down, we're not going to have much, as far as the tax base. I mean, we don't have the mall anymore like we have. I look at even this planning commission. Years ago, this planning commission would meet once a week. Zoning Board of Appeals would meet twice a month. We don't have that anymore. That many things aren't coming to Westland at that, and I would like to see that happen. And like I said, I know you're a good businessman and you care about the city. Just, if you could take it a little bit further, it certainly would go a long way, and I think the residents would appreciate it, and I think they probably would stand with you, on anything that you ever wanted to have in this city. So other than that, I just, I think there's just a little bit more, you need to come a little bit further, and that would be much appreciated.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, David. Everybody else up here has already spoken. So my role normally is supposed to be nonpartisan. That's why I vote last. I'm only here to primarily make sure that things go in order. In this situation, I have an awful lot of citizen concerns that I want to make sure that gets adequately addressed. I made a promise, and I intend to keep it. So the first couple of questions I had, I'm actually going to need to direct to our city attorney, Mr. Grisco. So the gentleman in the white shirt, I believe he was speaking about conforming uses versus acceptable non-conforming uses. Did that argument make any sense to you at all? And if it did, can you please tell us what you can suss out from that so that it can help our decision-making?
Well, non-conforming use typically exists when you have a use that has been established in a zoning category that is no longer allowed. So no, I'm not really sure exactly what he was referring to, because as I understand it, this is an industrial zoned property, and truck parking is allowed as a special land use. And so that's not necessarily what one would normally mean by a non-conforming use.
That was my understanding as well. I believe that he was making valid points that aren't really relevant to what we have, because the situation that we do have is that we have a use that does conform to the special land use standards, and we unfortunately have a use next door to it that doesn't normally exist next to an industrial zone. And I believe that's what he was actually trying to get at. The second question I needed to put directed to you, there was an individual, maybe even the same individual, that referenced item 6 on our special land use standards. And assuming that he or she had a valid stance that the administration was overreaching on item 6, and we as a body found fault with one of the standards. Is substantial compliance with the Westland zoning ordinance standards acceptable, or do we need complete compliance with the Westland standards?
I'm sorry, I'm not exactly clear on what you're referring to. I don't have that exact, I have the zoning ordinance in front of me here, but I don't necessarily have the
I'll try to be
thing you're
more
looking
clear
at.
in my statement.
Sure.
Each commissioner on this panel is going to need to consider their vote. That consideration of vote will need to be based on the special land use standards that we have before us, that the administration has been very thorough and very diligent in providing us the administration's belief as to how they are this proposal is in compliance with each and every one of them. My question is, if any of our commissioners believes that disagrees with the administration that one of these standards has not been met, is substantial compliance sufficient, or must there be complete, absolute compliance?
Well, there's a variety of factors within the zoning ordinance that the commission should consider in formulating its recommendation to the city council. Those would be located within, I think it was section 13 of the zoning ordinance that regulates special land use. I believe those factors are included in the packet and the staff memo as well. So they're factors to be weighed by this commission, and determine whether or not there's evidence in the record supporting, generally speaking, if those factors have been met.
So, and I'm going to try to, I also speak lawyer. So I want to make sure that, that those that don't speak lawyer understand exactly what we just established. If one of our commissioners believes that there's been substantial compliance, but not absolute compliance, they can still vote to approve. They're not barred from approval, as long as they feel that it's a substantial compliance.
Yes, competent material and substantial evidence on the record would be like
standard.
a standard for review.
Thank you very much. Now to Mr. Callow. I've heard a lot of discussion about a retention pond, but I didn't hear any real details about it. Is there going to be a stormwater retention pond? And will it have the tendency to address citizen concerns about potential gasoline and oil leakage?
We'll have a detention basin, not a retention basin, slightly different, but it will be in accordance with Wayne County requirements, and they will have to approve it and issue a permit before we're allowed to construct it, and they'll look at all of those requirements as well as part of that process. But yes, we do have bioretention swales along the perimeter that collect the water, and that'll act as pre-treatment to filter out any pollution concerns like that.
Now, there's already an existing, some sort of a drainage system. I actually visited the site some time ago, which I'll be circling back to in a little bit. There's an ancient, honestly, drainage system back there. Are you going to be using, replacing, what's going on with that existing drainage system that
So
appears to be ancient?
There's a high point about right in the middle of our site that acts as kind of the start of that drain going to the east. And so we'll fill in that portion from our east property line up to the high point, which there's no flow upstream that will restrict. It'll just then start from our property line. And anything within our property line will be managed by our stormwater system.
Okay, thank you. This is the next thing. I'm going to try to go fast, and it's not because I'm in any way, shape, or form taking any of these concerns less seriously than any others. So as I mentioned, I personally visited the site, and on the day that I visited, there was wind. And with respect to Brother Council, there might not be violations of dust abatement ordinances on the record, but my real eyes got an awful lot of dust and stung pretty badly. And all I am suggesting is that knowing or believing that to be true and hearing complaints from everybody, I think it's worth considering either immediately or over a period of time, paving the other portion that is currently being used to abate the dust completely, because once again, we do have a unique situation here, and I'm sure you've advised Mr. Callow about this, where we're dealing with a situation that we don't normally deal with in zoning, where we have a residential directly abutting to an industrial zone. Now, the industrial zone is understandable in the area because what else are you going to put right next to a railroad? The thing is that it's still abutting to an R2, which is very unfortunate for those people who have R2 property right there. I did hear, And I'm also going to contradict something that I heard, that the tree line in between was not thinned out. It absolutely was thinned out. Like the portion that would end up being a berm, it is now fairly thin, and because it doesn't have the backing of the rest of the wooded area that has been thinned. I'm assuming it was thinned so that you could just do a feasibility study to see if you could build in that area.
Yeah, we just brush hogged. So anything that was under a 1 inch, like
The-
3/4 of an inch, it was on a skid steer. All we did was rototill it.
Okay, the result, however, is that there was a fair amount of screening that was previously there, and it is no longer there.
That's correct.
And I don't really want to get into the weeds of who chopped what tree, because, to be perfectly honest, they're your trees, they're on your property, you can do what you want to with them.
They
But-
were all tagged before we went in there.
We currently don't have a tree ordinance, because tree ordinances apparently get you in trouble with the Supreme Court.
But can I answer that question on the chloride?
Of course, I don't intend to filibuster here.
So what we did enter into an agreement on the existing piece, nothing that we're talking about tonight on this piece, where we're going to have calcium chloride sprayed on a regular basis during the months, the hot months. So it'll just be like your normal road. There will be no dust because it's kept down by calcium chloride.
And one of the things that I can answer in terms of dust too, on the facility in Detroit, because when you go through a 5-day trial, you learn a whole lot about dust that you never wanted to learn.
Mike, if I can head you off here, my concern is for Westland. What happened in Detroit is really neither my concern for what you would like to say, nor was it actually very, very relevant to me when the citizens brought it up.
I'll skip the Detroit then. When you determine whether or not there's dust, you follow method 9D. And method 9D determines how the dust actually leaves if it leaves, and you do this opacity study, that you measure it for a 5-minute period, and that's how you measure it. And he's never violated it anywhere else. I don't think he's violated it here, because if he did, he'd be cited. And is anything going to be perfect on dust? No, but as he said, the calcium chloride will keep the dust down. And on the site that we're asking to approve, it's all paved, so therefore it's completely different. So I think that, I mean, the amount of money spending to do the calcium chloride and all that stuff is a lot. And he's willing to do that voluntarily on something that's already been approved. And putting paving on something that isn't approved yet makes it even better. Will he consider doing the entire thing? And at some point in time, maybe, but, you know, we're here on one piece of property that will be paved and won't have any further dust problem because of the pavement. It's just like any other street.
Well, mentioning Mr. Reed and myself, certainly our intention is to make you aware of a problem that you may not, or a concern that you may not be as aware of. And I appreciate whatever you do to address the concern with dust. It's obviously a nuisance issue, which of course you can have that discussion with your attorney. But we would certainly like to let you know that it is a valid concern that we're both aware of, and whatever you can do to abate the dust issue would be definitely appreciated, and it might actually speak very, very directly to the a little bit more, which honestly, I understand that a little bit more is also very expensive. But we're aware of what you can feasibly do, and we also would like you to be aware of what challenges your neighbors do face, because, I mean, the reality is, it might not be a violation per se, but it's still a nuisance to the people around, and that nuisance should be addressed.
We are going to mitigate it. That, like I said, we are going to mitigate it with chloride.
I appreciate it. Please also, as you mitigate it the way that you choose to, please also make sure that, that you're getting some feedback from the community that it is actually being effective. So I'd like to address,
Can I-
Mitch, did you?
It's related to the dust in the entrance. Can I?
Well, let's
it'll take 1
relate to the dust, can
Okay.
we? Go ahead.
I just wanted to point out that we are in the access agreement with the neighboring property. We will be paving the entrance within that property as well. So even though we're traveling through their gravel lot, we will be paving the entrance and won't be tracking that dust. into this property.
Every bit that you do to make your neighbors more comfortable with your existence there is certainly appreciated by, if nobody else, this board.
That's currently on the site plan as well. So.
I'd like to temporarily address the vibration and noise issue. So you've stated that your truck drivers, they're not permitted to overnight in the trucks, is that correct?
That's correct.
And am I to assume then that the trucks are not allowed to idle for hours at a time?
They wouldn't be, I wouldn't think they'd be doing that because they'd be burning fuel.
Right.
I
I know that is a practice that they do.
You know, maybe when it's really cold out, they might let them idle when it's below freezing, because I know trucks are very hard to start.
Yeah, and I understand that diesel engines don't start efficiently, so a lot of diesel operators will leave the engine running rather than use the ignition.
That's a possibility, when it's cold.
And I would suggest maybe that also be an add in your terms and conditions to make sure that behavior is discouraged, because obviously, one of the concerns from the citizenry is the consistent vibration that comes from an industrial use. Now, in normal operation, and I wanted to take a moment to address the "it could be worse" commentary. So I understood the "it could be worse" comment differently from my colleague. But I'm not super comfortable with the way that it's presented. It can be heard as kind of an extortion. Like, if we don't get what we want, we're going to build a big nasty factory here. And certainly, that's not what I assume is actually going on here. However, I did want to be very clear and on what I assume is fairly what was raised as an issue here. We have currently a lot of control and a compliant petitioner over what we're actually getting here. And when we say that something is approved as of right, we don't get the right to actually comment and make them aware of our concerns. A factory is legitimately approvable as of right in this zone. So the point that they're trying to make is that if they don't do what they would like to do with this property, you could have Plastipack in your backyard. And we're not sure that that's better, we're not sure if that's worse. But certainly, it's something that we wouldn't have as much say in or things to say about. Is that a fair restatement of what you were trying to
I certainly
convey?
apologize if it came off as extortion. I do not do that. I've never done that, and I'm not intending to do that. I have not threatened anybody on this board. I have never come to a board in 35 years and threatened anybody. I'm not starting now, so no. What I was trying to make a point of, and maybe I didn't make it as artfully as I should have, and for that I certainly apologize and acknowledge it. It's not Tony's fault that I'm not as artful as I should be, but I was taking it on what most said is this is a low-intensity site. And if we can't do this, at some point he'd have to sell his property, because he's not going to have the property sitting there being vacant. That makes no logical sense. And anything else that is done on that property is likely to be far more intrusive to the neighborhood. That's all I'm saying. I wasn't trying to make anything, I wasn't trying to threaten anybody, I was just trying to acknowledge reality that it's not going to sit vacant forever. At some point, something is going to be there, and anything that is there, as you said, a packaging plant, is going to be a lot worse for the neighborhood overall than having trucks, and he's moving the ones that are stationary onto the part that is nearest them, which is helpful. I mean, taking all these extra steps, spending an extra year from March of last year to coming back now, doing everything he can, meeting with the neighbors and listening to all the concerns and trying to address them all, shows you the kind of business person that he is. That the mayor of the city of Salem would write a letter that you have a copy of about how good he is as a corporate citizen should tell you something. Go speak to Mayor Duggan if you want, and he'll tell you how cooperative we've been in the city of Detroit as well. We don't, and he's been here for 25 years.
Yeah, I got Mike on speed dial.
And you haven't seen him. And former Mayor Duggan. And for 25 years, he's been here, and you haven't seen him with anybody complaining, no police, no nothing, because he tries to do things the right way. And that's what he's going to continue to do. I've known him for more than 20 years and been his attorney, and I've never had him say to me, you know, F you, I'm going to do whatever I want. Yeah, his first answer is, find a way to work through things. Let's just move forward. Let's do things right. And that's Tony.
Council, to be absolutely fair to you and very clear, once again, on the record, the comment that I just made, I was going to make whatever you said or not, because a similar thing was said in our packet by Mo, and I wanted to make sure that it was relayed in the spirit that it was made.
I
and that
certainly
there are
apologize
no
if it-
misunderstandings or misreadings.
I certainly apologize if my statement could have been taken the wrong way, but that is definitely not the way I was trying to make it. That's all I want to assure you.
I had a few other issues. So there was a concern that the operation was 24/7. That's clearly not the case. It's 7 to 7.
The majority. There are some trucks that leave 24/7, but it's very minimal.
And 24/7 would be for arrival and leaving of a vehicle.
Yeah. And if they were going at night, they'd be leaving once. They wouldn't be coming back the same time.
And I've seen photographs that are very explicit with regard to light that comes through, almost certainly from the bright headlights of semi trucks. And you believe that the walled screening is going to be sufficient to abate that?
100%.
Okay. So, will you remain open to hearing if there's additional, after the wall is put up, hearing additional concerns about that? And if it is unsuccessful, are you willing to commit to taking remedial measures, even if it's improving the on-site downcast lighting and requiring the vehicles to turn off their headlamps as they approach?
Yes.
Okay.
And I don't know if they told you, I have met with my neighbors, and I was willing to, if that 8-foot wall didn't work, and they weren't happy with it, I mean, you might see a couple feet of the trailer above that wall. I would invest in building them a berm, an oasis with pine trees and nice trees and stuff on their property at no cost if they wanted that.
So I
And I
am
could go
almost to
higher-
the,
I could go higher in the wall with that. I could go 10 feet, whatever they want.
I appreciate your willingness to be a continuing partner in making your proposal work for as many people as much as possible. So Ms. Hanslick would like you to keep aware of Section 22-432, covering parking lot surfacing, and 26-285, covering noise, odors, dust, smoke, and pollution. Please have your security officers, which I'm super happy to hear that you do employ security officers for all hours. I'm sure your attorney tells you that relieves you of a lot of liability. However, if you could please make sure that they're aware of those ordinances and that the neighbors nearby are very serious about those ordinances
Their
being
presence will be there
enforced.
every day.
Certainly, I'm concerned about the accusations of public urination. Are there available porta potties in between the truck areas for,
I don't have anything there, but I am now. There will be porta johns there.
that sounds like a reasonable accommodation. Once again, the screaming and disorderly conduct of the truckers. Oftentimes, I imagine what happens there is they're trying to communicate with each other, talking over their idling engines. And of course, once again, we have unique challenges where we're abutting practically directly up to a residential that ideally we would try to avoid from a zoning aspect. But here, we don't really have very many choices here.
Yeah. But we
Not
do
to put
communicate.
too fine a point on it, if we were to try to rezone something,
Yeah.
it almost certainly would be the residential that we'd have to rezone, because the other parcels would be unusable otherwise, except as industrial use. So I am concerned with the rock and the hard place that we actually find ourselves in. And certainly, we can try to make that as accommodating as possible, just simply by a little comedy, hopefully. And when I say that, I mean COMITY, not laughing out loud. Before Dave gets me.
And my neighbors do have my number. I always answer. So if there is an issue, people being loud, the girls in the office and my safety officers immediately will address everybody by either email, or they'll sit out in the lot and address everybody one by one as they leave the gate to find out who did it and for it to stop.
Okay. And, there is only so much that we can or are allowed to do. And to be perfectly honest, making sure that everything is adequately discussed is the best thing that we can do here. Like, certainly, land use is very robust in the law. Certainly, we're not the only venue to address concerns. And certainly, I'm sure Mike and I can have a nice, friendly discussion between professionals where we could come up with some nice strategies to keep you very well insulated, and also the citizenry well looked after in the unforeseens. But that being said, once again, I do really hope that regardless of how the vote that I'm about to call goes, that you understand that Westland absolutely appreciates your business and your continued presence.
I understand, and thank you all.
So, with that, unless there's, I see a lawyer signal from Mr. Grisco.
It's like a bad signal. I wasn't 100% sure. I don't think we ever technically closed the public hearing, so just want to make sure that whatever you're about to do, will hopefully close the public hearing.
The public hearing gets closed as
in the sense of wanting to leave, by any means, I'm just saying.
the public hearing gets closed by the motion maker, but thank you, Brandon. A motion is in order. Oh, I'm so sorry. I did make a promise, and I intend to keep it. Is there anything that I failed to address?
Yes.
Please rise to the podium and let me know the topic that I failed to
Sure.
to talk about.
The topic of whether this is the 38005 is conforming or non-conforming, because that really makes a big difference. So we haven't really established on record what 38005 actually is.
Mr. Hopkins, the I-1 zone has a...
38005, not the proposed property. Not, what is the address? The one that's currently there is 38005. The one that they're proposing is 37925. So what I'd like to know, and we asked for previously on record, is if 38005 Florence is classified as conforming or non-conforming? Because it makes a difference.
I believe it will not make a difference, Mr. Hopkins.
It will.
And the reason why I believe that it will not make a difference is because that use has been there for 20 years. And
Which will be
regardless,
exactly
it
to my
would be,
point.
it would either be an existing use for a legacy period, and I don't like to use the term grandfathered, but it would likely be grandfathered against
I'm
anything
glad
that
you
you
used
would.
that word, actually. So, again, is 38005 conforming or non-conforming?
38005 is not at issue for today's hearing.
You're not answering my question.
There's a reason why I'm not answering your question. It's not relevant.
It is relevant. It is completely irrelevant because if 38005, as you say, is grandfathered in, it's not allowed to expand. And now it's expanding as one property, not two. So what is it? Is it conforming or non-conforming? This is a simple question. This is not difficult or rocket science. This is a very, very simple question. Is it conforming or is it non-conforming? End of story. I don't need any, I just need you to tell me which one it is.
Interesting. Mr. Grisco, I was just about to ask you a question.
Perhaps the city administration would have some idea about what the facts of the situation are, maybe to be able to share those with. Also, I guess I'll say that being that this is a special land use proceeding, it's relevant in a sense, but it's not one of the factors that we're here to make a recommendation on, based on whether or not it meets the ordinance criteria for special land use. But
That would be my understanding, is that while it may ultimately be an argument that the citizenry would take up in a civil matter, bringing it up here is irrelevant to our decision-making.
That is not the case.
And I guess the question that I have for the administration and/or the city attorney, the existing use, what zone is that? I assume, being so even closer to the railroad, that it is also either I-1 or I-2.
I'm not asking the zoning. I'm asking if it's conforming or non-conforming.
Well, the zoning would actually tell us whether it conforms to the zoning
Okay, very
use.
well.
To respond. The site to the west is zoned I-1. The land use of truck and trailer parking on that property is conforming. Let's say it was non-conforming, that does not mean that it cannot expand. It simply can under certain restrictions. But that's irrelevant. It is a conforming use, and that is the answer. Thank you.
May I say why that it makes a difference?
Sure.
Okay, let's do it. So, a conforming property, if it's being treated as conforming, then the entire operation across both parcels
May I interrupt you
must
for a
comply
moment,
fully
Mr.
with
Hopkins?
current ordinance.
You appear to be reading from something that you're citing to. Can you please share what you're citing to? Otherwise, my assumption is that
Yes,
you're...
the Westland City Ordinance, this is in Westland's guidelines. Oh, I don't have the exact ordinance, but this is not me as a resident to understand this. This is on you to understand this and answer my question. You are the planning commissioners. You're supposed to answer this question for me, not the other way around.
Perhaps you're...
I just want to briefly address that although the commissioners, of course, are able to respond as they choose to, the purpose of the public hearing is not necessarily to be a deposition of the commissioners or a Q&A about the project, but rather to inform the planning commission about the issues so that they can take a vote. And based on the factors that are laid out in the ordinance for special land use, either recommend that the project be approved or denied, at which point that would go to the city council to make a final decision.
Or tabled until you know the information.
The Planning Commission.
That motion would not be in order.
Pardon me?
That motion would not be in order.
So this is why it makes a big difference. So one way, you've got to make all of this comply, right? You got to make all of the shrubbery, it has to be completely paved, because our ordinance states, I don't know which one it is, but it does state that all parking lots must be paved. All parking lots must be paved. I know this for a fact. All parking lots must be paved. That's not paved. In order for it to comply, it must be paved. That's not paved.
Okay.
If it's the other way around, and you're saying it's grandfathered in, then it's not allowed to expand. So
I
which
understand.
is it? You can't have both ways.
I understand what you're attempting to have addressed. And administration, can you please look into a requirement to have this use in this zone paved? If it is in the statute that a use such as this needs to be paved, I'm sure that Mr. Callow, if the statute requires it, that you will make steps to have it paved and come into compliance. Will you make that commitment? Okay. And will you please advise Mr. Callow with Mr. Grisco's assistance as to the validity of that requirement? Nonetheless, my suggestion would be that you try to pave it anyways, but I can't, unless it is actually required under the statute, I can't actually require you to do that. I'm certainly, if I had the means, I would do it myself, because I did not like to get my eyes stung.
The other thing that has not been answered is the R5 district. That's a residential district. So it's okay to use residential area
Mr. Hopkins,
in
there are
Westland
no R5 districts
solely
that are
for
under
the
discussion.
use.
It's an R2 district.
Okay, an R2, I'm sorry, R2, residential. Let's just call it residential. It's okay to use residential solely for an industrial use. Has no other uses except for the industrial use when the district is set there to
Mr. Hopkins,
create an area
Mr.
that
Hopkins,
separates
I appreciate
industrial.
your concerns, but you've already had plenty of time to address your concerns, and I did address this.
But they weren't answered.
Not to your satisfaction, sir, but they were answered.
They weren't. You didn't say it's allowable.
There is no residential use that is being used for an industrial use.
What do you mean? What's that district
The
above the red?
use in the zone is an industrial zone. It's an I-1.
No, above it, that where the retention pond is going to be. It shows, you've said it. You've said it's a residential
Are you referring
area.
to the area that is highlighted in yellow as opposed to the area that is highlighted in red?
Correct.
The area that is highlighted in yellow, and please correct me if I am wrong, but this is my understanding, the area that is highlighted in yellow is the boundaries of the I-1 zone. The area that is highlighted in red is the area that is intending to be utilized for the
Administration is
use.
saying no.
But the administration is going to clarify for me?
Yes, I will clarify. So this property's split zone. I'm sorry if you didn't hear me earlier. And the red outline does not delineate the split zone area. The majority of this parcel is zoned I-1 light industrial. If you follow my cursor while I'm drawing this imaginary line across the screen, north of this imaginary line is a portion split zoned R2 single family residential. And on the bottom to the south side is the portion that's zoned I-1 industrial. Now, the resident is calling into question the northern use of the property that's split zoned R2 for the use of a stormwater management detention basins, and basins are treated as infrastructure and utility facilities, not as primary land uses. So sometimes either on residential property or on split zone areas that extend into residential portions. There are accessory uses that go into these areas. So this is considered an accessory infrastructure use. Yes, the primary land use being industrial. Yes, the primary land use that is industrial being totally encompassed on industrial zoning district. So the utility or infrastructure facility being on the R2 zone district does not create any legal issues in terms of land uses there on R2 zone district. I think that's what you were questioning.
Well, what I'm questioning is not that it can't be used, because it is a residential zone. I'm not questioning whether it can't be used as a retention pond, because it absolutely can. It can be used as a retention pond, a clubhouse, a community pool, things of that nature, but it has to be for a residential zone, not an industrial zone. It has to coincide with residential, not industrial. So you're taking a residential area and not using it for anything residential. It's only supplying the purpose of this industrial complex. So what the lawyer has stated also, if you want us to move the retention pond to the back, go ahead. Then
Mr.
you have
Hopkins,
to-
please
then you have to
address
rezone
the
the
board, do not
residential
address
area.
the petitioner.
I'm sorry?
Please address the board, do not.
I'm sorry.
Do not
I'm
address or
sorry.
badger the petitioner.
I'm sorry.
That
I'm
was
sorry. I apologize.
incredibly inappropriate.
I apologize immensely. So
And I
if-
want to be
if
very
that's the
clear,
case, though-
if I understood Brother Counsel's statements, his statement was primarily to be understood, not specifically what he is intended to do, but that they are very willing to make adjustments that make sense here. And if you weren't listening to what the administration just said, and once again, I'm going to paraphrase, and please correct me if I'm paraphrasing incorrectly, that the law is established that even though it is adjoined to a non-conforming use, as long as the use itself is consistent with the zone in which it's actually being done, a retention pond is legitimate inside of a residential because, and for zoning reasons, because zoning is not inconsistent next to that thing.
That's not in question.
And regardless, it's beyond the scope of what this recommending body is actually charged with addressing. What you're saying may have legal validity, but it is not for us to determine. That is for a judge in a civil case. And making your argument here is unfair to this board. We do have a charge. Our charge is to determine, at its base core, if the standards that we have printed out for us have been met substantially, as I just established, or if they have not been met substantially, and if we are comfortable making a recommendation to the board.
Okay, so I have a question.
Please, Mr. Grisco.
Conversation briefly. So this public hearing is starting to feel like it's getting off the rails a little bit. We've had, everybody has had one chance to talk. A lot of people have had two chances to talk. Now we're doing sort of like a back and forth conversation. Somebody's third chance to talk.
I agree.
And it's not that this is an important discussion. It's just that this commission eventually is going to have to make a motion and vote on that motion.
I understand.
To recommend something to the city council.
So, Mr. Hopkins?
One final thought.
You have had plenty of time
One
to
final
make
thought.
absolutely all the final
And
thoughts.
it's not anything,
Sir,
it's
we
kind of
are-
go in a good forward direction. One final thought.
Make it short.
They have said that they would put a berm up with trees. I don't know how it's going to stop a 13-foot trailer or headlights coming in, but it would require the use of our own property also to make this industrial purpose work. So it will require 50 feet of our property in order to make what Mr. Callow wants to have happen.
All right, I'm going to stop
I'm
you
done.
right there. What you said was absolutely not positive. It was more argumentation, and I am absolutely done with it. We've given you plenty of time, and you've been completely unreasonable. A motion is in order.
Take a breath. Am I still out there or am I gone now? I've been so behaving.
I appreciate it. If there's no motion, then I will make it.
Mr. Rappaport, am I going to be able to make a quick comment? You said I could win.
Sir, please.
Quick, and I'm not arguing.
Please understand that,
From
that
here to there.
we have a limited amount of time,
Absolutely.
and this is only if I have failed to adequately address a concern that you actually have.
Yeah. May I?
Please.
You were hitting the concerns, and through you to the petitioner, there was a lot of effort to uphold Mr. Kalo and his good nature, and I'm all for that. I have no problem with that. And the truck drivers. I don't think the truck drivers are bad people. That's the dog in the argument. We're worried about the fleas. And the reason I asked you to put that picture back up is I count 30 slots going down the left side. So if there's 30, 30, 30, and 30, that's 120. It's not 79. Thank you.
We said there's 79 in the new property. That's what we said.
I got a site plan, sir.
I can see it.
Okay, well, math is math. I appreciate the clarity if there was a mistake with numbers. Certainly, and if I can, once again, I agree with you, fleas and dogs. The biggest issue that we have here is that we have a situation that we don't normally deal with in zoning, whereby we have an industrial use that we have to somehow shoehorn next to a residential use. And it's not going to be comfortable, and it's not going to be neat, and nobody's going to ultimately be happy about it. And I'm sorry about that. But that's basically what we're dealing with here. So, once again, if we don't have a willing member to make a motion, I'm going to have to make that motion.
Mr. Chairman, may I just make one comment real quick?
Please do.
When all said and done and this goes through, could we ask that the site have porta potties there for the?
He's already made a commitment
Did
to
I
add
miss
porta
that part?
potties.
What about trash receptacles? Will we have those too?
They are already there, and we'll have more.
Okay, and could you post a sign possibly telling the truckers that please use the trash receptacles and you know, the porta potties, however you want to word it, for our comfort?
Yes, I will.
Something like that.
Yes, I will.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much. With regard to case number 1933C, I would like to move to close the public hearing, waive the normal rules, and send the matter to the city council with a recommendation agreeing with the planning commission and building department in substantial agreement with the administration's analysis with regard to the zoning ordinance compliance of section 13.4 of ordinance number 248, and additionally, as the administration and planning department shall specify, and also incorporating any of the verbal promises made by the petitioner here during this session. I ask for a second.
There's a motion on the floor. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, it has been motioned by Rappaport and second by Folks. Can you do a roll call, please?
All right, this is a roll call vote to recommend approval of case number 1933C with verbal conditions and agreements made by the petitioner. Durante?
No.
Folks?
Yes.
Hobbs?
No.
Richards?
No.
Rouse?
No.
Reed?
No.
Rappaport?
Yes.
Motion fails.
What? Motion failed.
Fails. I thought he said it passed.
Is there a motion for a recommendation for rejection?
I'll make that motion, Mr. Chairman.
Recognizing David Reed.
Move that we close the public hearing and waive the normal rules. Send case number 1933C, proposed site plan and special land use approval for a truck and trailer parking lot, 37925 Florence, west of Newburgh, between Cherry Hill and Marquette Road, to the City Council with a recommendation for denial, subject to department requirements and recommendations, along with verbal promises made on the record. And again, send this on to City Council with our recommendation for denial.
Second.
Recognizing Mr. Reed with the motion. Second is Mr. Durante. Roll call, please.
Roll call vote to recommend denial of case number 1933C. Durante?
Yes.
Folks?
Yes.
Hobbs?
Yes.
Richards?
Yes.
Rouse?
Yes.
Reed?
Yes.
And Rappaport?
No.
Motion is approved.
All right, sir, the recommendation of this body is for a denial of your petition, which will be decided upon finally by the City Council. Once again, I want to make very clear that the disapproval of this body is not a reflection on on the way that you conduct your business necessarily, but is a reflection of how this body reflects the feelings of the community at large that is subject to what's going on your property site. And this is the concern that they want to make sure that the City Council is aware of, and hopefully you can address those by the time you, adequately by the time that you need to appear before the City Council. We do, honestly, I believe, I speak for the entirety of the board, we do wish you luck, and we certainly do wish peace and harmony for our fellow citizens. The reason why I voted the way that I did very consistently is because I'm a hardline constitutionalist, and it is very consistent with that feeling. I'm sure my brother counsel can understand. So that being said, I believe that he should see you still for
Yes.
steps moving forward.
Yes, we will contact all of the petitioners tomorrow. Thanks.
Thank you very much, and thank you very much to my commission. This was certainly not an easy determination to make, and I appreciate everybody voting their conscience. That being said, I'm going to waive our public comments unless anybody insists that they would like to make public comment. Would you like to?
Absolutely. It's my last meeting.
Please do, Mr. Reed. And I probably will have some nice prepared words for you at next month's meeting. I hope you tune in.
Oh, I will definitely tune in. So this is my last night as a planning commissioner. I originally thought I wanted to continue, but then I started looking at my life and some other things that I wanted to do. And the mayor and I came to an agreement that it was time for someone new to step into this position. And I have to say, I'm excited for all of you to get to work with Adam Hammonds. Adam has been on this body. He's a realtor, and he has also sat on the city council and been the president pro tem. So I think he will do a great job, and he'll be a great addition to this commission. To Nicole, I'm definitely going to miss seeing you as often as we see each other now, but that now means we have to get together a little bit more often in other hours. To Mo, we don't always agree on things, but I will say that you are an outstanding professional. You're a credit to this city, and you're a credit to your vocation. And whatever you do in the future, you will always have my support, admiration, and respect. To my fellow commissioners, start with Sam. Sam and I have known each other probably a good 30, almost 30 years, going back to the...
Over 40.
Over 40 years. And I will say, so many of you know what you know about Sam, but there are so many things that you don't know about Sam. Sam has been involved in this city at every level possible and in this state. He's a well-honored veteran and somebody who has given his heart and soul to this community. I'm certainly going to miss seeing you and that, but I'll be checking in on you to see how you're doing. To Daryl, you know, you and I were buddies the first night sitting there in the city council chamber waiting for our appointments and our approvals, and I thank you for your friendship, and I know right where you're at, just down the street, so we will definitely stay in touch. To Ruby, I don't think a lot of people understand how much you give your heart to everything you get involved in. You know, to lead like you have led through NAACP and continue to rise, the things you do with the Norwayne Community Citizens Council, on this commission and other things. You truly have a giving heart, and I admire that in you, I respect that in you, and I'm certainly going to miss you. To Jessica, I have really had a lot of fun getting to know you. I tell you, Romulus is very lucky to have you, because I know it's not an easy city to deal with the things going on there, but you're a great asset to them, and you'll continue to be a great asset on this commission and in the city. Deborah and I have known each other probably almost as long as Sam and I have known each other, and I remember when Deborah first came to Westland on the school board, and we had all kinds of things going on. We had right-wing folks protesting and threatening to burn school buildings down and all kinds of interesting things. But Deborah was a stalwart, and she hung in there, and she fought for the kids, and she fought for the teachers, and she still does that, and I think that's wonderful. To the chairman, you have a job that nobody should ever envy or want, honestly. We don't always agree on things, but I will say you have always given your best, your fullest, your highest, and most honest sitting in that chair. I wish you nothing but the best. I know that the commission is in good hands with you and Ruby together in the leadership, and with Jessica. And to my buddy and long-term friend, Deanna, who's sitting at home, I say to her husband, Dan, go home and give her a hug for me. And I'm not paying you. You're lucky to go home to her. But I'm going to miss her too. But to the mayor and the council, for the honor of just being a part of this commission, I say thank you. It has truly been a privilege and an honor to serve this city. I started out as the youngest commissioner on the Zoning Board of Appeals at 22, and here I am, I'm just shy of 58, and I'm finishing my service here in the city. I'll still be around, and I'll still do things, but I will be 100% private citizen and doing some other things and doing some writing. And, you know, I'm thankful for the part that Westland has played in my life and being a part of this commission, and I will definitely miss everyone.
David, it's been a privilege having you on this commission. With that, thank you very much, David. Those words were very touching, and you will be missed. Yes,
Make a motion that we adjourn?
I was just about to ask for that. Motion to adjourn has been made and seconded. Those in favor, please indicate so. Aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. I didn't think we'd hear any. The chair is not in question. We are adjourned. Thank you very much.
I anticipated you. I knew you were.